Look at your list. Look at the players. And you know who I'm talking about. You can take 5 or 6 of them. Why didn't they call those witnesses? They didn't call them because they would have been on our side.
Today we'll begin with a reading aloud of testimony that was requested by the jury. Jurors also asked the judge to go over his instructions to them one more time. Israel's military says it has taken control of a strip of land along the Gaza-Egypt border, a corridor used by Hamas to smuggle weapons into Gaza. With prices skyrocketing, fast food is fast becoming a luxury that many Americans will not indulge. Now, the CEO of one big burger chain is talking about it, complaining of misinformation.
McDonald's U.S. President Joe Erlinger says reports suggesting the price of the average Big Mac have doubled since before the pandemic are exaggerated. Erlinger says he and many franchisees are frustrated by a viral post on X about a Big Mac meal in Connecticut that cost $18, calling the price an exception. McDonald's says the average U.S. price for a meal is around $9.29. The fast food giant saw a slowdown earlier this year as inflation worried consumers dined out less often. Since the end of 2019, the average price for a Big Mac went up about 20%. The average cost for all menu items is up 40% over the last 5 years. I'm Jennifer King.
President Biden stepping up his outreach to black voters. Polls show a growing number of them are turning away from him and the Democrats and are willing to give former President Trump a second look. Mr. Trump has often said that black unemployment fell to historic lows during his watch. Wall Street Dow futures down 326 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
You just grin and bear it or bite the bullet when it comes to everyday pain? Don't. Try Relief Factor, a drug-free daily supplement that helps your body fight pain naturally. Relief Factor doesn't just mask pain, it helps reduce or even eliminate it. It's 100% drug-free, it's developed by doctors. In 3 weeks or less, you'll know whether it works for you like it works for me. Try Relief Factor for yourself. Go to relieffactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF and save on your first order. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF.
Trish Regan provides the analysis you need each day on the Trish Regan Podcast on the Salem Podcast Network.
The Democrats keep getting this one wrong. They think that they can just flip states. That suddenly all the Hispanics are going to vote for Joe Biden. And in fact, what you're actually seeing in places like Texas is Hispanics. They're overwhelmingly coming out in favor of Trump.
Subscribe to the Trish Regan Podcast today on Apple, Spotify, Google, YouTube, Rumble, or at SalemPodcastNetwork.com.
No lack of trouble for that U.S.-built pier in Gaza.
The plan to deliver desperately needed aid to the Palestinians via a U.S. military-built pier has been battered by security, logistical and weather issues. The pier was broken apart by strong winds and heavy seas just a week after it became operational. The UN's Stefan Dujarric has said the issue is one of many hampering the dire humanitarian situation in Gaza.
We saw that the floating pier is now inoperable.
He added,
every day that this conflict goes on, in our operations become more and more challenging, more and more difficult, more and more dangerous for our colleagues.
The project has faced mixed reaction from aid groups who call the pier a distraction that takes pressure off Israel to open more land routes. I'm Karen Chamas.
Russia conducting an array of aerial attacks on Ukraine overnight. Townhall.com. Flint, Michigan residents who have been living for years with disheveled properties may finally be getting some relief.
The state of Michigan says it will step in and oversee the repairs of properties that were torn up during the Flint water crisis after a judge in March found the city in civil contempt for blowing past deadlines to get the work done. The Natural Resources Defense Council says about 30,000 water lines were dug up and inspected after a water switch in Flint in 2014 caused lead to leach off old pipes, spoiling the drinking water system. The Defense Council says there are about 1,900 homes where the city never went back to fix the property workers dug up, leaving broken driveways and sidewalks and ripped up lawns. I'm Donna Border.
Alabama set to execute a man convicted of bludgeoning an elderly couple to death 20 years ago to steal prescription drugs and $140. More on these stories at townhall.com.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man in this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat.
Yeah, come on.
A Feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The traveler said, what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning, one and all. Welcome to Mornings with Mike Winters. I am he. That would be me, Mike Winters. Happy Thursday, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome to it. See, that 4-day work week, you're like, man, wasn't Monday like yesterday?
Yeah.
Kinda.
It's blowing right by.
And now we're sitting in a full-on thinking about the weekend.
I hope everybody enjoyed their semi-temperate weather yesterday.
Yeah, it's back blazing today. So
it was quite nice.
Yeah, we got warmth for the next several days.
It was actually comfortable last evening. I wasn't dying, trying to lean in front of an air conditioner, trying to funnel the air towards the back half of my body.
If you missed that, you'll probably be back to that.
Yay!
Good. I guess you count blessings because you're not in Clovis.
Yeah.
I was seeing reports, and Kim was showing me this, I guess this morning on the news, baseball-sized hail dropping in Clovis.
Wow.
Yeah, they were showing pictures of it on the news. So, at least we can get that. So.
I like when they designate the difference between, it's softball-sized hail today.
Yeah.
Not as softballs, but they are softball-sized. It's like,
when they're that big,
slightly bigger?
When softballs are falling from the sky, you probably don't want to be out in that one. Might be bad for the helmet.
Here we have nickel-sized hail, but in other countries, they have different currencies. So do you think up in Canada they say they have loony-sized hail? They get toonie-sized hail.
Maybe
it's like the size of half a tunic.
Think in Indian stuff, they're talking about the whatever the cricket ball is called, whatever that thing's called.
I was like, it's wampum-sized hail. Half wampum.
Just obscure. Go to Australia. That's the size of a rugby ball.
What do other countries use to compare their hail?
Measurement.
In India, they're like, we had hail the size of half a pork vindaloo.
Middle East, what do they use? I mean, I guess soccer. They like soccer over there, so I don't know.
The Middle East, what do they use? They use fatwas. Jihads, that's what they use in the Middle East.
Of course, I think golf is universal. I think they all play golf.
Yeah.
If you do business, you do golf.
That's true.
So they understand golf.
As long as we have a golf ball is like the universal.
Yes.
It gets weird on either side.
Cattywampus after that.
On either side for whatever country you're in.
Maybe someone needs to make that meme. You know how there's all these memes about in America they call it this, in Britain maybe they need to the American hail system, and then followed by a European hail system, African hail system, Asian hail system, South American hail system. And just see what's they use papayas here.
Avocado pits, actually.
But anyway, ours were baseball size in Clovis there. So
that's scary. Or pretty much anywhere else in the southeastern portion of the state, it's always 10 to 12 degrees hotter. So take a little comfort in that. Yeah, it's hot here. It's worse there.
Although in the state of New Mexico, it looks like we've got the ownership on hot this time.
Oh yeah,
they keep showing the state. And it's always oh, yeah, it's going to be 90s here and here. We're down in Roswell and Carlsbad, 100, 101 here today. They always do that.
Yeah. But, I get reports from, Las Cruces, Alamogordo, and it's always 5-6 degrees hotter than it is here.
Yeah, although I think we got it this week.
They're just closer to the equator. Yeah. It's worse.
Only thing we got is Arizona, maybe. Well, at least it's not Phoenix.
Take a little comfort knowing this isn't Tempe.
That's right.
It does feel a little cruel they named one of their cities half the word temperature. You knew what you were doing.
Well, when they put the asphalt down, it started melting as soon as they did it. Like, it's kind of hot here.
Well, you can go to Tempe, or you can go 20 miles down the road to Ratcher.
That's right. So it took a while for people to move there. And they're like, oh, yeah. Once they invented air conditioning. Oh, Arizona's all right. Nobody's here yet. Then everybody showed up.
I've had that thought before. It's like, can you imagine? Now, I know, global warming and all that have made it a hotter world than it was back in the day. But can you imagine doing a trek across southeastern New Mexico in a covered wagon in this heat, in the heat that we've been having, and worse?
No.
That's awful.
But
wearing what pioneers wore, which was way too much clothing.
Yeah.
It's always like, bonnets and like thick shirts.
You
guys were hot.
We all heard of the Donner Party.
Yeah, and that meat must have stank. I mean, those people were, suffering, sweating, probably hadn't had a shower in a while.
Yeah. Speaking of the Donner Party. Real quick.
Yeah.
Yes and no, not the same thing. So back in the 90s, there was a movie that came out called Alive.
I remember Alive.
And it was it's based on the true story of the rugby team in South America. That the plane crashed in the Andes Mountains, and they spent months in the Andes, and they ended up resorting to cannibalism to survive. They ate the bodies of the dead to survive and all that. They didn't kill people. They ate the ones that already died.
Yeah.
But anyway, and of course there was a book that came out in the 70s called Alive, based on their stories that the movie was based off. But I did not know that on Netflix about 2 or 3 years ago, and I don't think it's an American movie. I think it's I don't know if it's South American or it's Spanish. I'm not sure if it's Spain Spanish or like Latin America Spanish or South American Spanish. I'm not sure where. I didn't. But there is a movie, and I can't remember the name of it. It's something like the something in the plane or something, and it's the Alive story, but it's kind of, and I've heard it's excellent, but it's all in subtitles, obviously, because it's in Spanish.
But it's just redone with like a modern sensibility?
Well, and I think they've done a little bit, maybe some of the other stuff that the original movie didn't, because they're, like the book about Alive, it goes into like what the families were doing and talking a little bit more about the actual escape out of the mountains.
Right.
Because 2 of them actually walk out of the mountains and end up at a farm. That's how, hey, these people were, because they were left for dead. They thought they crashed, they were gone. No one thought they existed.
Turns out there was a gas station like 2 blocks down. I'm kidding.
Well, and except for the family, they kept fighting for the search and everything else.
Sure.
But anyway, the live movie doesn't really go into that stuff so much. So I think this movie does. But I don't know.
Okay.
But anyway, I was fascinated by that story back in the 90s and read the book and seen the movie like 30 times. And because everyone can say, John Malkovich is in it. That was the big sell. John Malkovich. I'm like, yeah, he's literally in like 30 seconds of the movie at the beginning and at the end. That's about it.
Having spent time doing intermittent fasting and also like long-term fasting, I think the longest I ever fasted was like 60 hours. The body can go for a really long time without any kind of sustenance. As long as you have water, you don't actually need food.
Well, they went a long time.
I'm just saying, at what point do you go from, well, let's just keep roughing it?
They were up there for like 3 months.
Let's eat Bob.
Yeah, they were up there for like 3 months in the winter. And by the way, not knowing how to survive, if someone's going to find them, they're literally in the wilderness well, not wilderness, but in the tundra mountains, the snow. I mean,
and that right there, that's why I don't play rugby. Because I don't ever want to be on the plane during intramural, like flying to the championship game.
And what always got me was there was pictures, and it was in the book. Now it's all online and stuff. But there was one of the pictures in the book, and I think it was on like the back cover.
Yeah.
And it was a picture of the actual rugby team and everything, and they're on the plane. And it's like a photo of them like, hey, boys.
Right.
And it's literally moments before the plane crash.
That's crazy.
And it's like, this is moments before these entire lives changed, and so every time I see that, even to this day when I see that photo, it haunts me, like just thinking about what comes next on that photo. It's just crazy.
I just feel like my timing off if I was up there, I'd be like, so rock, paper, scissors on who gets eaten?
Yeah.
Sean, we've been here for 25 minutes.
Well, if you've seen the movie Live, they kind of talk about that kind of stuff, and they make jokes like, "Well, if I die, I promise you can eat me," and all this, and they kind of, deal with it. How humans deal with things.
People eat. I'm fine with y'all. If I die, if we all die, or in a situation y'all want to eat me, that's fine. I'm just going to put requirements on what gets eaten first. That's all.
Maybe I should tattoo recipes. I recommend this part in a nice gravy with it.
So, one of my all-time favorite Looney Tunes episodes was one of the few episodes where Wile E. Coyote actually speaks.
Yeah.
And he pulls down a chart of all of the different parts of the Roadrunner and what they taste like.
Yeah.
And he points out that this part tastes like licorice, this part tastes like celery. And I've always remembered that in my head of just like pointing out different, since sweetmeat's down here, how each part has its own unique flavor.
Now we're getting into Donald Duck and Louie, Huey, Dewey eating turkey for Thanksgiving dinner again.
That does feel so wrong. Like he's happily shaking his knife together, ready to cut into that bird.
Yeah.
I never really thought about that until later on in life. It's like that is thick.
I think it's a duck. Turkey game on. You'd think they'd eat at least pork.
That's like seeing Mickey and Minnie sitting down to a big plate of vole.
Right.
It's like, I know it's not exactly the same family, but it's close enough.
Right. Let me give you the rundown.
Yes.
We do got a full slate for you here today. We're going to replay an interview this hour.
I hope you're hungry.
For this segment, brought to you by Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Kentucky Fried Jim.
We're going to replay an interview this hour. We had Jen and Lee from American Legion Post 61 family join us yesterday to talk about, recap Memorial Day and talk about convention and some of the projects they've got going on. So we'll play that for you here in just a bit. Elaine Mayfield, talking Galacticon, will show up and join us here in the 8 o'clock hour and talk about that, which is all part of the UFO Festival weekend. So we'll talk about some of the events and things happening at the Galacticon portion of the UFO Festival. And then in 9 o'clock hour, about 9:15, John LeMay, ladies, will be joining us.
Ladies. We're going to up our hotness game.
Yeah, talking about his new book. Nice. So we'll have all that. Plus, we'll have all of our features that include some newses, lots of political ads, and whatever else I can crowbar into the show. So, speaking of which, let's take a gander at your weather.
I'm going to take a goose.
Just
in case I get hungry in the Andes.
I was say that I thought that was code for I have to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, I'm going to take a goose. I'll be back.
On that note, here's your weather.
I'm meteorologist Jennifer Naramore with your Pecos Valley weather. Mainly clear conditions moving in area-wide for the early morning time. Our low dropping close to 65 degrees. Heating back up a little bit more on Thursday. Lots of sunshine coming in. Highs are hitting the upper 90s to near 100 degrees. We have a small chance of a pop-up thunderstorm Friday around the Roswell area. Highs there low 90s. Otherwise, we're hitting 95 for Carlsbad and for Artesia. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Naramore.
Thank you, Jennifer. Currently 68 degrees here in Roswell. Humidity is at 45%. Winds currently out of the southwest at 3 miles per hour. Sunny and hot today as we were talking. Highs near 100, 99 officially. Winds expected to be out of the south, 10 to 15 miles per hour. Clear tonight, looking at an overnight low of 63 degrees. Looking at south winds, 5 to 15 miles per hour. As Jennifer said, a slight chance, like a 20% chance for showers for your Friday afternoon. They're talking mainly after 3. Sunny for the most part. Highs in the mid-90s, 94 with winds out of the north, 5 to 10 miles per hour. For your Friday night, a 20% chance of rain continues into the evening hours, mainly before midnight. Partly cloudy with an overnight low of 64 degrees. Winds will be out of the south, 5 to 15 miles per hour. Looking at the weekend. On Saturday, there is a 30% chance of showers and thunderstorms, mainly before noon, partly cloudy, and a high of 94. East winds 5 to 15 miles per hour. 10% chance of rain for Saturday night, mainly before midnight, partly cloudy, overnight low of 65. Sunny on Sunday with a high of 101, and Monday, mostly sunny and 102, and we're going to be in the 100s, looks like most of next week. 102 Monday, 103 Wednesday, 102 Wednesday. Yeah, it's pretty much 100-something all week next week. All right, 7:20, we're going to take a quick, actually a 5-minute break. Then we're going to play an interview with the folks from American Legion Post 61. Don't go away.
This is Chad Hamill, and I'm running to be your next senator for District 32. My opponent, Candy Azell, can't defend her 20-year record in the Santa Fe swamp, so she's attacking other people's families and kids on the radio. That's the difference in this race. Candy attacks other people's kids while I'm running to protect yours. And on my record, as a fire chief, I have seen the devastation of open borders. Fentanyl overdoses are out of control. As a small business owner here in the community, I know firsthand how politicians in Santa Fe have destroyed small businesses for our communities. As a previous school board member, I know local control has been ripped away from our schools. It is time for a change. The same old just isn't working. I will be your conservative voice in Santa Fe. Career politicians have gotten New Mexico into this mess, but as a firefighter, I've made my living running towards problems, and I'm ready to fix the problems. I humbly ask for your vote on June the 4th so we can put the fire out in Santa Fe. Paid for by Friends of Chad Hamill.
You don't have to live with a non-healing wound. The Wound Care and Hyperbaric Medicine Center at Artesia General Hospital provides compassionate care to people experiencing chronic or complicated wounds. Led by certified family nurse practitioner Rochelle McIntyre, our wound care team will work with you to build your customized treatment plan. Podiatrist Jennifer Chow and Joseph Krupa also specialize in lower limb wound care, and we are proud to have state-of-the-art hyperbaric oxygen chambers, a proven treatment that promotes successful healing. Visit artesiageneral.com/wound to learn more.
Every person listening to this ad right now will agree we as a nation are facing an uncertain future. We're at a crossroads. The status quo has failed us. We've got to fight. We've got to take back what we have lost. With your vote, you can join this fight. We can no longer squander our vote and our voice as if we're voting in a high school popularity contest. Nor can we continue electing self-serving politicians that claim to fight for you while making backroom deals that have facilitated the erosion of your liberties while destroying our livelihoods. My association with various different grassroots organizations, patriot groups, and activists has led to statewide citizen participation efforts to initiate grand jury investigations and the referendum of historically egregious laws. Similar efforts are being planned. These efforts will continue far into the future. We have within our reach the tools and weapons we need to end this tyranny and stop the assault on our faith, our liberties, and our way of life. We have the God-given authority to take back what we have lost. If you vote for Larry Marker, you're not voting for me, you're voting for we.
Paid for by the committee to elect Larry Marker.
At Richland Motors, it's never been easier to sell or trade your current car, truck, or SUV for a newer model to hit the road in. Even if you don't purchase from Richland, they want to buy your vehicle for top dollar. But if you do buy from Richland, don't forget, they're the home of the powertrain warranty for life. That's a whole lot of confidence for you. See Richland for details. 2nd and Sycamore and 1309 Southeast Main.
This is State Representative Jim Townsend. I want to tell you why Candy Spence-Azell is the best choice to be your next state senator. Candy is consistently ranked as one of the most conservative legislators in the entire New Mexico legislature. That's why the attacks on her in this race have been so ridiculous. The vote her opponent says was for illegal immigrants. Well, actually, that healthcare vote was to keep rural hospitals open during COVID, and every Republican in the legislature in Santa Fe that day voted for it, even the liberal Republicans supporting her opponent. The vote Candy's opponent says was for critical race theory was an education bill that, again, every Republican in the legislature in Santa Fe that day voted for. The attacks on Candy's characters are lies. Candy is a tried and true conservative Republican. Please vote Candy Spence-Azell for State Senate.
Paid for by Candy Spence-Azell for State Senate District 32.
Hello, this is State Senator Greg Nybert. As you know, I represent Chaves County in the State Senate for District 27. I've represented us in the legislature for 8 years. I'm asking for your votes so that I can continue to be your strong voice for Chaves County. It is important that you go vote. Voting in Chaves County has been light, and there are contested races on the ballot this year, so your vote is very important. Early voting ends Saturday, and Election Day is Tuesday, June 4th. As your state senator, I will continue to protect our Second Amendment rights, the right to life, our oil and gas industry, and our conservative Republican values. And I will, of course, do my best to bring economic development and growth to our community, as I did with the recently announced Reno air races. I humbly ask for your vote for Greg Nybert in the upcoming Republican primary so we can keep Chaves County strong. Please go vote early this week. Election Day is Tuesday, June 4th.
Paid for by Greg Nybert for State Senate.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. A group of 12 or more cows is called a flink. If you have only 11 cows, that's called a lot of cow pies. Here's Mike Winters.
It's very true. They say that she missed the beginning of the stat there. It said men are 6 times more likely to be struck by lightning than women. It's because we're more likely to stand out in a thunderstorm with a lunar. It's very true. They say that she missed the beginning of the stat there. It said men are 6 times more likely to be struck by lightning than women. It's because we're more likely to stand out in a thunderstorm with a aluminum foil on our hat.
All right. I was thinking golf clubs, but that works.
That's right. Good morning. It is 19 minutes after 9 o'clock, and joining us in studio this morning from our American Legion Post 61 family, of course, Lee and Auxiliary President Jen back with us. Good morning.
Good morning.
How is everybody doing?
Good.
Joey Sawyer Key. That's always a start, right? Yeah, we're better, right? So, and technically, my wife's here too, so we have another auxiliary member.
Yes, we do.
So we have 4 of us, legionnaires in the room, Legion family. Very good. But, of course, we have Memorial Day weekend. We got, unfortunately, I couldn't make it, but it sounds like we had a good turnout for
We
Saturday.
really did, yeah.
And for Monday
Yes.
as well, too, here.
Big shout out to the community. We want to thank everybody that came out, and there were people mowing and weed whacking and cleaning off graves. We really appreciate that.
I heard
very
more conversations about the power drill is the most useful tool.
Oh, yes. Absolutely. We actually put that out. I think it was on Facebook, and we said, hey, bring your power tool because the caliche is really bad. You're not going to be able to drive that piece of wood into the dirt real easy.
Well,
so some people bring screwdrivers, other people
Well,
bring
maybe
drills.
they need to. I know they have wood drill bits and metal drill bits. Maybe we need New Mexico dirt drill bits.
Cemetery drill bits.
Yeah. Designated for the dirt in New Mexico soil.
Right.
But-
The official Memory Lawn. I can see it now, the branding.
That's
Memory
right.
Lawn Memorial Cemetery official drill bit.
Like the metal ones are all bent and crooked.
Yeah,
but
lifetime warranty.
Right?
Yeah.
But
We're
yes.
partners with what is that? True Value
That's right.
Hardware. Yeah.
Hey, maybe we can get it like Snap-on or Crest.
Yeah,
one of
there you
these,
go.
get a sponsorship.
Get somebody to develop it for us.
That's right.
You know? And we'll get, like a 1% royalty for the rest of our lives or something.
That's right.
Say it.
Put a.
We're on to something here.
Well, we need money. We got to find ways to make
Put an
money.
American Eagle on there or something. We'll call it a Patriots drill bit or
A
something.
Patriot drill bit.
There you go. I like
There we go.
I like it.
Good for digging in the soil.
Yeah. Got a loved one? You need a flag on their grave?
We get the whole community to back us with this would be great.
Yeah.
But a little morbid humor this morning, but
Thank you to everyone that came out
Absolutely.
and came out to support and came out to memorial services at both the McBride and Memory Lawn events on Monday here.
Yes,
They
very much so.
Great turnouts at both, and we're glad.
I
to
wish
see.
I could have attended, but knees only bending 70 degrees. So,
you need a few jump packs on the on the transport there to
tell
get.
you what, I get one of those James Bond, things you can put on my back, and I just,
That would be cool.
rock
Like
it
a
over there.
jetpack?
I would want that. Yeah.
Yeah. I just have to have somebody meet me on the other side. It's got to get refueled, and then I got to have my chair to sit on when I get there.
I mean,
But,
I just at this point love the Jetsons thing, where you can get the bubble thing and it makes that same that noise.
Yeah, right?
Why can't we have that?
I remember
We're supposed to have that.
George Jetson, was it Rosie the
maid,
the maid,
the robot maid, yeah. And Astro was the dog.
Astro the dog, yeah.
And
Elroy,
Elroy, and his wife.
Yeah.
What was
Judy.
Okay.
Yeah. And Jane's always stealing money from him.
That's right.
Just that pulling the money out of his wallet.
Spacely
and all that
Sprocket.
stuff.
That's where he worked, right?
Spacely Sprockets.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
By the way,
It's been a little while.
Is there a big demand for sprockets here in
I don't
2024?
know.
Couldn't even tell you what one is, to be
You
honest.
might know what a sprocket is. No, I'm thinking about
I think the latest development is MEMS. So I mean, mem makers or whatever.
That's true. That's
I make memes. I don't make necessarily political ones, but I make memes like white cap memes.
Those are fun. Yeah.
Yeah. I just share them.
Yeah.
I don't have any ability to create them. I just share
them.
I claim them as my own.
A mem now and then. I just don't know what offends you or not. I haven't found one yet. But
Nothing
I'm
offends
looking.
me.
I'm looking.
Yeah, I'm pretty open book on that stuff. Because I was in the military too.
Is that where it comes from? I wasn't sure.
Just saying, yeah.
Yeah.
To see and do things and say things.
But no, thank you. Memory lawn services went well. I know Don's off the cuff, and he shared a couple stories about Okinawa, which was good. By the way, Norman E. Harpel, the namesake of our post, he was stationed in Okinawa too as a cook. So it's just kind of a little segue there.
I don't care what anybody says. That is the most liked person in the military.
Or the most hated. Yeah. It just kind of depends.
Well, I'm the guy you don't want to make mad. You don't want to make the cook mad. Never, ever.
Yeah, I know that.
That person needs to be your friend.
Yeah.
And you make friends. That's why it's good to be the cook.
But I tell this story every once in a while. It's a short story. But everybody's like, well, your American Legion post has to be named after a deceased war hero or whatever. And I said, you know what?
Why?
They're all heroes.
It's service.
And you know what? I named our post I convinced the board to name our post after Norman E. Harpel. I was friends with him up in Colorado because he was just such a great man, and I wanted to honor his service.
And guess what? If someone handed him a gun instead of a spatula, he would have used the gun.
He did. He was a chaplain, but he...
You know what I mean? But I mean, that's
but
military. You do all.
He believed in weaponry as well, but he became a chaplain later in life. But his service, it was genuine service.
To be honest, the chaplain is, again... Especially, in times of war, the chaplain is a very
we talk about 4 chaplains in there, in which I think it was they were talking about the father said to the son, and I can't remember which one it is now, but I know it's in the speech where he says, "You really want to go to war and not have a weapon because you're just
as likely to get shot.
Just as likely, actually, you're more likely to get shot because you're." Giving last rites or doing whatever, and you're exposed.
It's kind of like the medic role, the medic's generally not, maybe as a side piece, but he's not strapped like everybody else.
No, I don't think so. Most medics I know, they don't carry.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, most of them, they got too much gear from
not
medical
only that,
equipment.
But I mean, you're
else.
just busy. You don't have enough time to reach down.
I just didn't know maybe, if you get in a hairy situation, and sometimes you got to do what you got to do.
I think we'd have to ask an actual combat medic, but I can't speak for them.
I can't either. I mean, my experience there is Saving Private Ryan, pretty much like everybody else.
Oh, yeah.
I was in the Air Force.
Movies like that, they just make me laugh. Death Wish is what it is.
Yeah, that's kind of the one thing. Saving Private Ryan, the one thing I did like to get right is the way that the people talk amongst each other.
Well, yeah.
In the as they're traveling to do their mission, the way the GIs interact with each other, the mindset of the people, I think they nailed. I mean, where they get wrong on some of the explosions.
And I don't want to talk about my book in this hour, but in my book 182, there's a few scenes in there, and there's that sort of thing going on.
Yeah,
because people are people. And if you don't put that sort of thing in, you can't relate to it.
Sure. And when you put people in extreme situations like war,
yeah,
they nail the mindset there. It is a fair, because let's face it, when you're not knowing if you're going to die tomorrow or not,
everything becomes more precious.
Exactly.
I remember interviewing a guy when I was up in Colorado. He was one of the chosen frozen, and I asked him about that one time, and he actually wrote a book about it too. And I was talking to him, and I says, "Well, what did you do in the downtime?" And he says, "Try to stay warm." 90% of the time, all you do is and it's a sick mindset, is what it is. Is you're hoping that you can engage the enemy because you'll have to fire your rifle, and the rifle gets warm. Sure. And you can get heat from your rifle. So
that makes sense.
I want to go into combat to kill somebody so that I can get warm.
Absolutely.
And that's just bizarre mindset that nobody really thinks about.
Well, when you're in survival mode,
yes,
and which what they're in, and
things get different.
Yeah, things change.
I mean, I remember going camping, when I was younger, and I wake up in the morning and I'm just freezing to death, and it isn't nearly as cold as it was for those people, and I can't see being that miserable.
Well, and you think about it, even in the most extreme, you're like, I'm a car away from getting warm. You know what I mean?
I know that. Yeah.
And also, they don't have that.
When you sit back and you think, well, I'd rather be fighting in Vietnam than I would have been in Korea because it's warmer, but it's still miserable, and you're going to get killed, or shot at or whatever. But I mean, war is war. But at the same time, they're just people, and
this kind of goes back to Memorial Day and why we celebrate it, and Veterans Day and why we honor.
Which is also why veterans talk to each other the way that they talk to, because
they see it.
They've seen it.
They've been there. They've chewed dirt or don't like it, and sometimes, quite frankly, veterans when they talk about this stuff to people that never seen or done it, you may look at and judge us differently, and there's a fear
I was actually classified as a combat veteran when I was in, but in the Air Force, a combat veteran is not the same as people that are boots
not
on
a guy
the ground.
sitting in a foxhole
but at the same time, you are in the line of fire, and there is a mindset to that. And I mean, I remember when they told me, they says, "Okay, congratulations, you're on the combat crew." And I just looked at them and laughed, and I said, well, it didn't mean anything until the day we got shot at. And when you're on an unarmed platform, you can't do anything. And, I don't know about you, but a 747 is just not as maneuverable as, like, say, an F-15.
No.
So when we're talking about, an evasive route or something like that, 747 isn't designed for those types of,
not to mention that F-15 can fire back.
Well, unless you're out of ammo. But I mean, the point being, you can evade in an F-15. In a 747, not so much.
No.
And that always makes...
Was it civilian 747?
Oh, no. It's military 747.
Did it have chaff and flare?
I can't go into those details, but the point of it is, if anybody wants to look it up, I was on the National Emergency Air Command Post, NECAP. It's now called NEOC, and in 2032 it's going to change its name to SAOC or whatever, but you can look it up. It's all online. It's 40-year-old
I imagine it does
technology.
have some kind of countermeasures for air-to-air stuff.
Again, I can't talk about that, but the point being... I remember this movie. What was it called? Space Cowboys.
Oh,
remember that movie? Clint Eastwood.
And
that was a fun movie.
He has to do a deorbit burn. Okay, and he's trying to operate the space shuttle like a fighter jet. And I remember, was it the guy that was playing Gene Kranz?
Let's see, James Gardner was in it.
Yeah, right. But I'm talking about the guy that was. He's selling gold now or something. Devane, William Devane.
Yes.
And he says, "It's not a fighter jet," And I was just laughing to myself because you try to maneuver a 747 like a fighter jet, you're gonna rip its wings off.
Well, space shuttle, it doesn't have engines. It's a glider.
I know, but you're gonna lose all your tiles.
I mean, it has engines, but they're no good on Earth.
Well, they're no good really coming back to Earth either.
Yeah, once it goes to the atmosphere, it's a glider. It glides back to where it's
like a flying brick, according to the movie.
Yeah.
So, but, I saw the shuttle once when I was in. It was on top of 747. I think it was the Enterprise, but I never.
I've seen the museums. I saw Enterprise.
I also saw Enterprise at Kennedy.
Yeah.
I think it was. But
I saw Enterprise
that,
when it was in D.C. at Air and
See,
Space.
and every time you say Enterprise, I can't help thinking Star Trek.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. They actually were going to name it something else. I cannot remember what it was, but there was a name that they were going to name Enterprise. And it was something else. And the Star Trek fans had this massive write-in to NASA. You got to call it the Enterprise. And I personally would not have called it Enterprise. I would have rather them name the second one Enterprise, because the Enterprise never flew.
I was going to say, Enterprise never went into
It never
space.
went in. Yeah.
It rode on a 747, and I think it glided on Earth. But
yeah,
it never
that
went
was
to space.
it. It was the only thing it ever did. And then they ended up cannibalizing it for parts after Columbia blew up.
And they actually used it, and we saw it at the time. They were using cannibalizing for parts, but also using it as the research.
Yeah.
So like when they're going through and looking to study the O-rings and all the things, and so they tore down Enterprise. And matter of fact, because it was still in the museum in Virginia at the time, and they had it roped off, and they had like panels down and everything.
Sure.
And all that stuff. And it was kind of cool because
that would be cool to
from my
see.
perspective, seeing
and I thought it was cool. I went through the space shuttle when I was at Kennedy, but to me, the Saturn V rockers were much more
they're
impressive.
so huge.
Yeah, they're much more.
You can't even get one in a building. That's why they're big they are. I mean,
Well, they were laying sideways. Yeah. They had them hanging from the
if
ceiling.
you see something in the building, it's usually like one cone from
yeah.
That's big.
That's about all you can fit in there. And,
But let's talk American Legion a
yeah,
little
we
bit
probably
here.
got on the sidetrack a little bit.
Well, we covered Memorial Day. We got Flag Day coming up. We're going to do a flag retirement.
Yes.
We're going to do our flag retirement at our new building.
We do have an official new building. It's not quite ready.
It's not ready to be open yet,
move in and
but
hang
we're going to
out.
have it in the parking lot. It's going to be 605 East 2nd Street.
And we're going to do a flag retirement
We're going to do a
ceremony.
flag retirement, but it'll be in the parking lot.
Yes. So if
we
you
have to do it on the other side, because the other side, our neighbors have compressed air bottles, so we can't do it.
We don't want to burn more than flags.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
So we have to be
Retired
really
flags.
careful where we're going to be doing that. And then, as you mentioned at the top of the hour, we have state convention is happening
Next month.
Right. So all you veterans out there, it's $15 to attend. That's it for the whole weekend.
Yep. And then we've got some barbecues and dinners. We're inviting
barbecues
people to come out
on
too.
Friday night, where it's being catered by
La Sierra Barbecue.
Yeah. And Saturday night is the Liberty. We're having a big banquet there. But if you want to go to the banquet or the barbecue, you have to register ahead of time.
Yes.
Because we have to have a head count, because they're all catered.
Well, yeah, we want to know how, because you're going to cut into people's ribs. And, and you don't want to take ribs
that's
out.
an interesting thought.
Especially with a bunch of veterans. You take a rib out of a veteran's hand, you might
lose it. Yeah.
Just saying.
And I don't know, I'm also having a little drawing on Saturday. It's $1 a ticket, 6 for 5. Winner gets to shave my head.
Yeah, and
So-
there's actually quite a few people that are evilly wanting to do it.
Yeah,
Really
well,
enough.
everybody's
It's
trying.
kind of sinister.
Everybody wants to go after my beard.
It's a little sinister.
But I told him already it'll be like $20 a ticket for the beard, and I got to take in at least $500, or that ain't gonna happen. Because when they
It will
shave,
grow
if
back.
you shave off my head hair, and you shave my beard off, I look to be about 14 years old. So this is just not something I really aspire to. And although my wife says that she'd support it, she also talked about buying $100 worth of tickets.
She wants to date a younger man.
But she complains constantly about when I look younger, it makes her look older. So,
okay. So she wants you looking old to make her look younger.
Yeah, that's the deal.
That's a good tip. You want to look young, hang out with older looking people.
And in and a little farther down the road in August, we're going to New Orleans. And
I believe it's Nolans.
Yeah, Nolans.
Yeah, it's all one word.
I've been there many times. I was stationed at Keesler Air Force Base. That's like an hour and a half.
Weirdly enough, I've never been to New Orleans. I've never been there.
Oh, wow.
Me either.
Yeah.
That's why
Well,
I'm
you
looking
get a big chance. And the big deal is one of our native sons here in New Mexico, Joe Navarrete, is going to be National Commander of the Sons of the American Legion this year.
It's a big deal.
He
It is a
gets
big deal.
installed down in New Orleans this year. That'll be the last week. And
That's in the entire United States. All
the world.
World.
We're international.
It's Sons of the American Legion. He is the commander of all of the Son
Son,
Pango
anywhere.
Pango, he's their commander.
And it's
I
the
don't know
first
that we
one
have
from New
one
Mexico.
in Pango, but we do have Pacific Islands and stuff. And last year I helped rename the Department of Mexico to the Department of Latin America, because
It's more than
it
Mexico.
also covered South America and
A few other countries there are like, well, we're not Mexico.
Well, and there's a lot of veterans down there, expats, that wouldn't join the American Legion because I don't want to have Mexico on my hat, I don't know what the deal is down there, but the machismo was running pretty high.
we made the locals happy.
Yes.
But yeah, state convention is coming up here in June, and what's the website that they can steer them to register and everything?
RoswellLegion.org.
Oh, it's our regular site. I thought there was a special site that it went to for some reason. But RoswellLegion.org is the website which, when you're there and you want to learn more about just the convention, if you want to learn more about scholarships, if you want to learn more about what we do over at Memory
I got
Lawn.
money I've been trying to give away. I can't use it for the American Legion. I have to give it to people that want to actually go to school. And it's a 500-word essay, and you just have to have a military connection of some form or fashion.
Yeah.
I don't care who it is.
Could be parents.
I've got like $13,000, and I've been trying to give away for a year.
Yep.
So I don't know what people's problems are, but they don't want my money, I guess.
So go to RoswellLegion.org.
And apply for the scholarship. Now the paperwork may say 2022 on it because I haven't went through and updated it.
But it's still good.
It's exactly good. It works every single day of the year.
If you are pursuing a career in STEM, or military, first responder, that and you have a veteran connection, whether it's yourself or maybe
father, mother,
grandparents,
sister, brother, spouse, son, daughter. Don't matter. Some sort of connection to some military person somewhere, somehow, you qualify. Yeah. So.
And nobody else is applying, so give it a try.
So your odds
All
are
we
good.
can say is no.
Your odds are good if you put in a good.
Right.
I'm supposed to only give away 4 a year, but I could give away 6 this year.
Well, I'll say it's been a bit since we've given away one, so maybe we got a few extras.
That's what I'm saying. I could do up to 6.
Yeah.
But no one seems to want the money. So I guess
odd.
you're all flush. Everybody must have all the money in the world, and you don't need any money.
But we would love to help some kids. Or
$2,500 a piece.
But that being said, Memory Lawn and the American Legion, we need donations, and we need them badly.
Sure. We got a building that we're renovating. We got a convention we got going on. Memory Lawn needs a bunch of work.
Yeah, I know when we were out there at Memory Lawn, I had several folks asking about the water.
Yeah.
The water rights are staying with Memory Lawn. They're not going anywhere.
Oh, yeah, I want to make that very clear. I have all the paperwork for all the water rights. We are not selling them.
Right.
They're ours.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Have a nice day.
For the water.
I need them. Everybody's like, well, the Pinions are stealing them and all this. No. The Memory Lawn water rights stay with Memory Lawn.
Very good.
Yes. What we
Any confusion about that, that's what's going on.
Right.
You don't believe me? Call me.
Yep.
Yes.
I'll tell you to your face. It's not going to happen.
Yes, because we need that water to water the...
I'll say we got
At
a big
most,
dirt field
I
that needs
may
grass.
lease a little bit of water, right? But that's it. It's not going to be... I'm not selling anything. But
No.
I am really required under... there are some regulatory reasons for water leasing that I'm supposed to do. Nobody seems to want it, but I need to, give away about $600 of water leasing just to stay, kosher.
Gotcha.
To use a Yiddish term. But anyway, that being said, RoswellLegion.org. You can donate directly on the page. You can call me. And now we're going to have a building, so we can have mail at. Actually, the mailing address. The mailing address will eventually be 603 East 2nd, but for right now, it's 102 North Washington. So. Anyway,
but the building's there on East 2nd. It's the old.
So I was like I was saying,
auto parts.
If you wanted to donate, you can either mail in a check or do it online. But I noticed a lot of people while we were out there putting out flags and picking up trash and everything wanted to know about the watering. And the reason that nothing has been watered yet is because we don't really have an irrigation system, which would cost about $200,000 to put in. So we desperately need the community's help to raise the funds for that. We would love to have it be as green as a lawn is supposed to be, but we need the money to get there.
Sure. And we all know there's like no trees or nothing out there. So it's a lot of watering and a lot of sun exposure out there.
Yes.
So maybe in the future, a few trees.
Well, we finally got the sign fixed. I mean, this was something that we were working on for a while.
And we still have big, ultimately, we want that as the home for a big Gold Star Memorial as well, too.
Yep.
I mean, we've got
we partnered up with
plans.
Jim Burris on that. He wants it at South Park, but, we have not raised one dime for this yet. We really need an Eagle Scout is what we need. We need an Eagle Scout project, and we need to get it done. But
any Life Scouts out there looking to go for their Eagle Service project?
Right.
Looking for projects? Hit us up. We got
the other thing we need is probably we want to build a flag retirement kind of a facility in an incinerator.
Flags and
we'll do it right there on property.
Like
Post 25 built one. They did it as an Eagle Scout project. So, we probably we could get the plans for it and stuff like that, and see if we can develop one on our property. But that's another thing that we need is that sort of work.
Mm-hmm.
So people listening want to get involved. By the way, if you want to donate and earmark it directly for Memory Lawn, we can do all that.
Absolutely.
If you don't tell us, we'll use it for general fund.
Yeah. Well, you can donate directly to Memory Lawn if you want. It's memorylawnroswell.org, and you can there's a donate page on there, and that goes directly into Memory Lawn. If you donate on the American Legion page, that goes into the American Legion bank account,
which could go towards our building, which could go towards helping veterans, could go to help towards anything.
But in the memo line, when you do the donation, you can say for Memory Lawn, for Boys State, for whatever you would like to earmark it for. If you have a special pet project, you just put it in there and say that's what it's for, and that's what I have to spend it on.
And that's what we'll do.
Right. Yep. And the purpose that we decided to get the building for was to have a gathering place. We're not going to have a bar. It's going to be a family-friendly gathering place for the community.
The ultimate, we'll have, like if we want to do banquets and things in
there. We'll do banquets. We'll probably do bingo.
Have a kitchen and all that.
We're hoping to have a full commercial kitchen.
Yeah, no bar, but a kitchen and everything. So if you want to have banquets or, I don't know, maybe you need a space to have a quinceañera or something, but also, too, since it is kind of close to downtown, who knows? Maybe that's our home for other ceremonies. And things. We do, maybe we do a Veterans Day thing there after the parade. Or
we probably will. In fact, I've already put in paperwork for the Veterans Day parade, but next year when we have the post, we may want to change the
route,
and so it goes by the post. Or
so we go from north to south instead of south to north.
Either that, or I was thinking down Second or something like that.
Oh, okay. Okay, got you. Go Second and come head into town, kind of.
Yeah, or vice versa, or something. But
let's go to Lubbock and then.
Lubbock and back. Lubbock to Lovington.
Well, if nothing else, we're going to have a yard sale on June 8th. So.
That's right. June 8th, we're having a yard sale.
Yeah, so come all
ye
shoppers.
Yes.
And we got a lot of high quality merchandise. We're trying to.
Yes. And if you have something at the house that's just, you've been tripping over it for months, but you don't know what to do with it, we can.
We'll think about that.
We will. You want to donate it to us, we'll find it a good home.
I'm sure there's things in our house that we can get rid of.
Some purses.
There you go.
Very good idea.
Yeah, try not to jump on that a little too hard there, Mike.
Let me help you pack them.
Oh, boy.
Yes.
He might be missing
We'll see out there.
Yeah.
I won't notice that.
We're going to do it on June 8th, which is going to be a Saturday. It'll be bright and early in the morning, about 8 o'clock, until it gets too hot and we get tired of being there.
Right.
And we'll probably have some cool beverages and, that sort of thing. So.
And some great deals and a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, for sure. And like I said, all proceeds go to the American Legion, our programs.
So we got poppies that'll be happening there. And then, of course, Robert wants to do pancake breakfast.
Ooh.
Yeah.
On June 8th?
No,
I don't know. Okay. I don't know what his plan is. He's been a little tied up.
Sure, he's been busy.
Yeah, but I know once the building is renovated, which is going to take a while, and again, some fundage, he's wanting to do pancake breakfast.
We're thinking soft opening June 2025.
Okay.
That's me. It's just speculation.
Well, anytime there's construction or renovations, you can put a date on anything, and you'll blow that date because it's always going to be delayed by something.
Well, I know that
it's always something.
I know that the HVAC and all that stuff's been pre-planned, and engineers already planned all that stuff. So
it's going to be nice and cool in there.
Nice and cool in there, and so we need that figured out.
Yep. A lot of us are carrying extra girth and serves as an insulator.
I'm carrying a lot less girth.
This is true.
This is true.
I've lost about 90 pounds.
So maybe you might need a sweater when you're in there.
Well,
that's awesome.
The thing is, I'm not even trying.
Yeah.
So I'm not.
That's the best way.
Yeah.
Well, I was in the hospital for 6 months.
Yeah, you do. You kind of.
And I was on this really horrific diet while I was there. And then when I come home, I just didn't have the desire to eat.
I've had a few of those diets.
Yeah. Yep.
But we are excited that we're going to have this new Legion home, and like I say, give us about say a year here, and I think it'll be fully operational and ready to go. But in the meantime, we'll come June 8th. Come see it. There's not much to look at June 8th. I'll be honest. It's building still, but come for the yard sale. Come save a bunch of money and buy a bunch of stuff and help us out here.
And if you're looking to be a member, you can be a Legionnaire, which is anybody who has served in the military, male or female.
Pretty much since Pearl Harbor.
Pretty much, yeah. You can be a member of the auxiliary, which is the spouse of a veteran herself or hisself, or someone directly related to, like a grandparent, a sister, something like that.
Immediate family.
Right. And then, of course, we have the sons, which we were just talking about.
And you do have to, that's the one you do have to be a male descendant.
Yes, you do.
But for Legion and auxiliary and everything else, men, women, don't matter.
For the most part, women, ALA is mostly women. The only way men can join the auxiliary is if you're the spouse of a female
Which
veteran.
we do have males in our auxiliary.
We do.
So.
Yep. We do.
But the only one that's exclusive to male only is the sons of the
True.
Right.
True.
And for the Legionnaires, obviously you have to have served, so you have to be at least 18.
Yeah.
But for the sons and the auxiliary, as soon as the kids are born, they can be signed up.
That's right.
So we have all ages.
You're a son.
And we've actually had, when we were in Colorado, we had permanent members the moment they were born.
Love that. That's a great idea.
Yeah, it was funny.
Bring
Grandpa
them into the
signed
family and the values of the American
paid up for
Legion.
life for the sons in Colorado was like $400. So it was like a no-brainer.
Yep.
We don't have a paid up for life program here in New Mexico, but they're working on a national PUFL program for them. I just don't know when it'll actually get passed through internal affairs.
Problem is because the way the money's handled with states and this, does everybody get their cut when they do it nationally there? And that's what I think they're worried about. But
it could be
because the state level gets cut out or something.
Post 61 membership dues are $50 a year. And July 1, they go up to 60. So if anybody wants to join post 61 and you want to join at the $50 rate,
now's the time
between now and July 1. And if you're really so inclined, if you want to save a bunch of money, you can sign up not only for 1 year, but you can actually do 3 and lock in that rate.
Yeah.
But like I say, on July 1, we're raising our dues to 60 because National's raising their dues again. And I would expect within the next 2 to 3 years, Legion will be raising prices yet again.
It is the way of the world.
Yeah, cost of living goes up.
Yeah.
And they haven't really raised dues in quite a while, so it is time.
Took about 25 years, but now we're getting nailed about every 3 to 5.
Yeah. It's like postage stamps.
Even when you consider the work that the American Legion does and the size of the organization, when you compare it to the other national organizations similar to it, our dues are still less than theirs.
Sure.
So,
That's
true.
true.
You're getting a good dollar value there.
And just if you're looking for, I'd say join them all if you're qualified.
Yeah, for
Absolutely.
sure.
But
they need our help.
American Legion is, not to brag, but to brag, is the only one sanctioned by Congress. It is the so when the American Legion speaks to Congress, they by default have to listen because we're a product to them.
Right.
We
yeah,
have
but
a
when
seat
I
at the
say
table
changing the American Legion takes an act of Congress, I'm not joking.
It is literal.
Yes.
So therefore, we we are the official voice for veterans in Congress.
Right.
Don't get me wrong, VFW and all the other great organizations do their part to help, but as far as officially have the year, it is the American Legion. They are the one.
No, I want to thank the local VFW.
Absolutely.
Mac Dyer and the whole
They are
crew.
awesome people, and I'm a part of them as well,
They
too.
were
They're great.
helping us out on Saturday. Nobody came on Monday, but that's okay. I'm sure they were busy at McBride or South Park or something, but the VFW does a lot for our communities, too. So,
They're one of the ones that had the drill motors putting the flags in.
Yeah.
It was fun watching them.
The veterans organizations are all great, and they're all do good things and support them. But just saying, if you're looking for that thing, American Legion definitely. And like we were saying earlier, as far as to be a Legionnaire, if you served honorably in the United States Armed Forces, any time between now and since Pearl Harbor.
December 7th, 1941.
And you are qualified for American Legion. VFW, it depends on the theaters and when you served and what theaters of operation were going on at the time.
They may close that. The Legion Act opened up all of the donut holes, like if you were between certain conflicts and stuff. But now that Afghanistan has wrapped up, Congress may decide to close the gap again and say, all right, you can no longer join after this day.
Gotcha. Okay.
And I think that will be a bad move.
Yeah.
But it is
last thing you want to do is less people.
It's not outside the realm of possibility.
Sure. I know, like, for instance, I qualify for VFW because of my Kosovo stuff. That's that theater qualified me. But
I may have served overseas in many locations, but I can't prove it, so the VFW will not allow me to join.
Gotcha. So. Well, there's a lot of that going on, too. I just saw the time. We better wrap this up here. RoswellLegion.org. That is the website for anything post 61 related. If you want to learn more about the scholarships, if you want to sign up for state convention, if you have any questions about anything we do with Memory Lawn or Scouts or any of our other our tent pole
and if you're
projects.
Not a member and you want to go to state convention, my phone number is listed on the website. Just call me directly. Commander's phone number is listed right on the website.
Yeah.
We'll get you taken care of.
Absolutely. And if you want to see what we've been up to and what we're about, and if you want to give us money, which we'd love to have, there's our resume of things that we're doing with it. So check it out.
Big shout out to everybody here. If you want to do a sponsorship or what have you, one of the things we're looking at maybe in the future is see if we can get a mobility van for the post. We have a lot of aging members, and we would probably open that up to the community. I know that there's a lot of need for that. The Joy Center helps people over 60.
The VA transport helps a lot of veterans,
VA helps,
but it's for veteran only.
To go to medical appointments.
Yeah.
So we are looking to obtain a vehicle that we could run people around town.
Or outside of medical things.
Yeah, outside of medical things, life things.
Life appointments.
But we would need a vehicle to do that, so I'm going to put that out on the table that we're looking for a vehicle.
Excellent. So if anybody got any ideas, reach out to us. We'd be happy to.
Absolutely.
And don't forget, June 8th, come on. What time does the yard sale start?
We're going to start it at 8.
8 a.m., so you get to sleep in, yard sailors.
Yeah, but you can come in probably 7:30 if you need to register, pull stuff, bring stuff in.
Be careful. You tell yard sailors they can be early, they will be there early.
Well, we're not going to start selling until 8.
They'll show up at like 6.
If you want to come in and you want to set up stuff or have stuff you want to donate to have,
you'll have to kick them out at 6. Trust me. They're very early people.
605 East 2nd Street.
Absolutely.
It's across from the Army surplus.
Yes.
575-268-0220.
RoswellLegion.org.
RoswellLegion.org.
Well, thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Have a great day. We'll see you next time.
All right. Thanks, Mike.
The case in the George Floyd death. Keith Peters reporting.
The state of Michigan says it's willing to step in, oversee property repairs at 1,900 homes in Flint. Water pipes have been inspected or replaced in those homes, but the grounds remain a mess. In March, a judge found Flint in civil contempt after missing multiple deadlines to get the work done. A water switch in the city back in 2014 caused lead to leach out of old pipes, tainting the drinking water. Since then, more than 10,000 lead or steel pipes have been replaced. More on these stories, townhall.com.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man in this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The tabloid said, what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican world radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 6 minutes after 8 o'clock. Welcome to our number 2 of Mornings with Mike Winters, right here on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM. Happy Thursday, everybody.
Yes.
Apologize for the internet issues. We have a VPN, which I'm already saying more than I actually know what that is.
It's a very protective neighbor.
Yes.
He looks out for us. He's always got our back. It's Modesto.
But no, with the internet, we have a VPN that relays from our main office to here and all that. And there's some issues with that, and they're working that issue. Apparently, it's not on this side; it's on the other side of the tunnel.
Yeah.
So, but they're working that. And so, apologize for the digitizing and all that.
It's made for some challenges over on our country station.
Yeah. So
I'm here. I'm just not here.
Yeah. So they're working that issue. So, and that's part of what happened last hour with the internet dying there and playing a break in the middle of an interview and all that. That's kind of what happened. My apologies.
Yes.
We're working that issue. The IT people are doing their thing. It's above my pay grade. They started throwing in letters and this, and I'm like,
What's your ISDN IMEI?
7 or 8. Mm-hmm. That's why I just 8 or 9.
A VPN basically, if I can like dumb it down a bit, it mimics you being in a different place. It basically takes your IP address and plants it in another place so that we appear to be in somewhere else. And in this case, it'd be Artesia. Okay. So that we can mimic the programming that's coming through the Artesia channels and feeds.
That's more than I've learned about it before. I've known nothing of this.
I'll tell you one thing that's real fun about VPNs is if you get one, you can, and all the ads always talk about this on YouTube, is you can place yourself in a different country, and then if you have Netflix, for example,
for nefarious stuff.
Well, not necessarily for nefarious things.
Or just to get like
if
British
you have
stuff.
Netflix, you can have access to the Netflix that country has access to, which has access to titles that we don't have.
Which you may or may not want.
But if you're, let's say, for example, looking for a movie that you can't find streaming anywhere here in this country, but you found out, it's on Japan's Netflix. Well, you can VPN yourself over to Japan and watch that movie.
Nice.
Simple.
And I know, there's services you can pay to do that, right?
Yeah, that's what a VPN is. You pay this service.
I've heard it. I just hear the words. I don't know what it is. It's something with computers and internet. That's all I know.
I mean, I
really don't know.
I understand fake it till you make it, but at some point, Mike, you've made it. You gotta grasp onto some of these things.
Here's the point, though. It's like I'm a radio guy. I talk on the radio. I'm not, and it's like.
Which that's confusing enough because I've learned terminology for equipment that I never knew before I came here.
And that being said, I can use a computer and I can navigate the things I got to do. But when it comes to troubleshooting computer issues,
you're like, I got a KC for that.
You know what? I've been driving a car for 30 some years. I still can't, I could do the basic. Well, not even nowadays with the cars. I used to be able to change oil. I don't think I could anymore.
No, it's and what's funny is like the ways that mechanics somehow just know to fix that. Like for example, Ayana she got her oil change recently, but they didn't turn the oil light off on her dash,
the dummy light or whatever.
The warning. Yeah. So she went to a place and said and asked if they could fix it, and they gave her this they said, okay, put it in park, press the brake twice and the gas pedal 3 times, and it just. With the car off, and it just took the light off. And it's like some weird code. It's like
I was like, this is a Contra code, like up, down, left, right, left, right.
That's what it feels like. It's like the. If you ever seen like videos from like YouTube back in the day, they would talk about how you could go to a vending machine and put in a certain code and then be in like manager mode and get like to dispense money and get free items and stuff. That's what it feels like. It's like mechanics. Right at like mechanic school graduation or whatever, they're handed their diploma. By the way, brakes twice, gas 3 times. Simple.
They do some weird stomp.
Right. It is. It's like their stone handshake.
Yeah. Exactly. That's why I don't know anymore. I just don't, and so VPNs and things like, look, I knew internet when you're like dialed up. I got, the high speed. I get, but when it's like mimicking this to there to tell this and then AI, I'm just like, I've hit that wall where it's above my pay grade.
It infuriates me when an IT guy will ask me if I've tried turning the unit off and then on again. And it infuriates me even more when I do and it works. Like that. Oh, I know I could have done that. I was looking for a different way.
Yeah, well, we always joke about Microsoft, but that's legit the fixes.
Yep.
Turn it on and turn it back on. See what it does.
Yeah, there you go. Have you tried it?
Yeah, it's exactly what it does. But again, our apologies as they work those issues on the internets and that VPN thing that Sean just explained to everybody.
Imagine an apple in an orange field.
And it's not that I'm dumb. I've hit a point in my life I don't care.
You don't have to.
Yeah, I just don't care.
You've reached a point where you can pay someone to carry the oranges up the stairs. You don't have to go to the effort.
I don't really want to know how the
You've reached a point in your life where your car is just left in a parking lot and you get to be chauffeured for 2 days. That's the point in your life you're at.
You know what I've paid to get that chauffeur?
I understand. Which, by the way,
20 plus years of
how's it been without the freedom of your own vehicle?
Oh, it's not too bad. Kim and I pretty much, when we're not, since she's off for the summer, when I'm not at work, we're pretty much joined at the hip anyway.
Yeah.
So it kind of, no big deal.
It helps that you both have a
more of
vehicle.
an inconvenience for my wife because she has to get up in the morning to take me to work. Although I offered, I said, Kim, I'll take, but she doesn't want to be left home without a car. So she's getting up in the dark 30 to bring me to work in the morning. So when she doesn't have to.
But you get yours back today.
That's what they say. They said the battery should be in today.
Nice.
And they say it's a battery. That's what they're going to check other things because the battery's under warranty. So because I just replaced it like 2 years ago.
I was going to say it was recently.
So, but they think but they're going to. I think once they hook it up, they'll do their stomping on their foot, tamp the thing, whatever they do.
They'll all join together around the car, stomp 3 times, and then it will magically restart.
And then I think they thought my Jeep was a little more high-tech than it was, and it was like, oh, no, that was the auxiliary battery. I said, auxiliary battery? Well, I have an auxiliary battery? Yeah, what's that for? It's for the auto stop. Dude, I said, I don't have auto stop. I said, it's a Jeep. and they're like, oh, no, it was the main battery. But for a minute, you got me questioned, like I didn't know anything about my Jeep. I'm like, I have an auxiliary battery? I have auto stop? No, I don't.
Yeah, that, by the way, if you have the feature that I don't think I've ever felt it in your Jeep.
Yeah.
But it is one of the most annoying new features in a vehicle, the auto stop.
Oh yeah, my wife has it in her car.
I hate it.
Yeah.
It's infuriating because the only thing it saves you a couple of drips of gas when you're waiting in a stop.
I feel like it's an accident waiting to happen.
And honestly, you waste more gas in the start back up in the restart.
I guess the engineers figured that.
And there's a whole friggin' other battery that's like 4 times more expensive and shoved into the Well, it's just stupid.
My wife has that feature, but she turned it off. I never see it in action because it gets turned off.
Especially at Roswell lights, with the exception of the McGaffey light and 2nd Street, there's no light that it's necessary to turn your car off for that long. If you're in Vegas, sure, the auto stop might actually be worth something.
Yeah,
because those lights suck. But here, not bad.
Yeah. Anyway, but that's the status. But I should be back cruising today.
Nice
is the word. So.
Meantime, I said it yesterday, but you need to be riding in the back seat. Like do this full blown Uber style. And Kim, in turn, should have like a selection of snacks and beverages back there for you, and a tip cup.
To be honest, though, it would be better in the passenger seat because in my wife's car, the back seats, I believe, had. The passenger and driver's seat have heated and cooled seats.
Ah, okay.
I think the back might have heated, but maybe not. I don't know. I'd never back there. So, in theory, And plus, the passenger side has its own like air station. Like it's 72 over in your area, but it's 68 mine. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Temperature controlled zones.
I'm saying in that area,
right.
I might be more comfortable in the passenger seat.
Yeah, makes sense. But I'm just saying for the full experience.
But he nailed it, Kim, on the snacks and beverages. I'd love to have that available when I get on.
Every now and again. Ooh, pretzels. A selection of trucker snacks.
Yes. Oh, yeah. You know what? I went back to Farmers. I don't know why I'm doing that. But I went back to Farmers over the weekend, and I didn't procure any. But I went back down the snack aisle. They had the Truckers Treats bacon cheeseburger, but they had like 4 other flavors.
Oh, really?
And not all of them were savory.
Oh.
There was like a cinnamon one.
Okay.
There was like a jalapeno one. There was like 4 or 5 different flavors, and one was a sweet one.
If there's a trucker snack and they don't do a line of nuts, they're really missing out on.
I gotta imagine the Trucker Treat has more than just pretzels.
I'm just saying, if you're not making making and selling truck nuts, you're missing out on a vibrant.
Unless they're trying to market it like Scooby snacks.
Well, it's basically like, and I swear this is just they couldn't get Jeff Foxworthy to sign off on the deal, so they just went with Trucker Snacks. But it's sort of like those wrap snacks you'll see, where it's just like Missy Elliott's cheese puffs.
Yeah.
Or
and allegedly the according
Migos
to the bag,
sour cream and onion wavy chips.
And according to the bag that you read, that it's for a nonprofit, like it was for a portion go to some kind of trucker organization. I don't remember what it was about, but it was something about violence or abuse or something.
It was Truckers Against Child Abuse.
That's what it was.
Like TACA or something like that.
Yes, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
I knew it was something like it. Is our guest here?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Excellent. They get in stealthily, and I usually hear them come in, and I didn't hear them come in. So I'm like, oops, somebody here. I get to thinking about Trucker Treats.
Well, it's a known thing that Elaine moves like a shadow in the night.
A wraith.
A wraith.
By the way, did you ever see that movie in the 80s, The Wraith? With Charlie Sheen?
I think I saw that the same weekend I saw like Fuzz Bucket or one of those other like weird fantasy ones.
Charlie Sheen and a Sherilyn Fenn, if you remember her. She was in a lot of movies in the 80s. I'm trying to think of one that people would know. She was in Just One of the Guys, if you remember that movie. She was the love interest, the girl that was like the girlfriend that kept hitting on her as a dude. That's Sherilyn Fenn. There was a movie some weird movie where she had no arms and no legs, and she sat in a room like some weird art thing. But she was in The Wraith.
It's so funny that in those movies where girl pretends to be a guy to be in a guy's thing, there's always that love interest girl. Like every single one of those movies that I can think of, there's always that girl who's weirdly attracted to the girl guy.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's almost like an overused trope, but also like, I think a thing to bring in the 13-year-old boys.
Yeah.
It's like, ooh, she's attracted to a young lady. She just doesn't know it yet.
I don't know why your discussion reminded me of this, but now I'm curious. What happened to Boof? If you remember Teen Wolf. Boof.
Okay. I'm sorry, Mama.
Because she was the girl that was the friend.
I was like,
that secretly loved Teen Wolf, and then I think it's been a while since the movie. I think they end up dating at the end. But he was attracted to the popular girl, and Boof was always like his friend. But like, what happened to Boof? I haven't seen Boof since Teen Wolf.
Whatever happened to Boof?
I already know what's going to happen because it happens every time I do this. It's going to be something tragic or something bad that happens.
It will later today.
Yeah. Yeah. Boof.
Oh, God. See, I hate the new Google AI overview. Now I have to scroll way down. So actress Susan Ursitti, Boof from Teen Wolf, she returned to school to pursue a master's degree. Hang on, let me pull the article. She was pretty. Teen Wolf.
Well, they made her tomboyish in the movie, so she didn't look as hot as the popular girl.
The ending of her acting career is the beginning of another great adventure for the then 38-year-old Ursitti. She returned home to pursue a master's degree after graduating a second time. Ursitti entered the design and manufacturing career field. But she couldn't leave Hollywood behind. On September 12, 1992, she married film producer Jonathan Scheinberg, who produced popular films like Passenger 57 and McHale's Navy.
Ooh, Passenger 57.
Her father-in-law became Sidney Scheinberg, president, COO of independent film production company The Bubble Factory. Yeah, so she's
for Booth.
Yeah, she's on the board of the Los Angeles Parks and Recreation board.
Yeah. A positive ending for one of these finds.
And she describes herself as a vegetarian.
To quote the great
doing good
Samuel Jackson, check out the big brain on Booth. All right, it is 8:21. We're going to talk Galacticon here in a minute, but first, your weather.
I'm meteorologist Jennifer Naramore with your Pecos Valley weather. Mainly clear conditions moving in area-wide for the early morning time. Our low dropping close to 65 degrees. Heating back up a little bit more on Thursday. Lots of sunshine coming in. Highs are hitting the upper 90s to near 100 degrees. We have a small chance of a pop-up thunderstorm Friday around the Roswell area. Highs there low 90s. Otherwise, we're hitting 95 for Carlsbad and for Artesia. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Naramore.
Thank you, Jennifer. Currently 75 degrees here in Roswell. Humidity is at 52%. Winds currently out of the south at 14 miles per hour. Sunny and hot. Highs near 100, 99 officially today. South winds 10 to 15 miles per hour. Clear tonight with an overnight low of 63 degrees. South winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. There is a slight chance, 20% chance for showers for tomorrow afternoon. They're talking after 3 p.m. Otherwise, sunny, high of 94. Winds will be out of the north, 5 to 10 miles per hour. 20% chance of rain continues into Friday night, mainly before midnight. Partly cloudy otherwise with an overnight low of 64. Southeast winds 5 to 15 miles per hour. Saturday, they've also tacked on a 30% chance for afternoon showers and thunderstorms. Partly cloudy and high of, what are we looking at there? 94. Sorry, my eyes are all squinty. And then 10% chance of rain Saturday night as well. And then Sunday, sunny, hot 101, and that kind of enters into a spell of 100 plus next week. We're going to be like 101, 102, pretty much all next week. 103 on Tuesday. So, yeah. So enjoy maybe the little rain we get in the 99 today. All right, it is 8:23. We got to pay a quick break, a few political ads and one or two non, and then Elaine Mayfield will talk Galacticon with us on the other side. Don't go away.
This is State Senator Bill Scherer, the senior Republican in the state Senate. My voting record is ranked as the most conservative in the Senate. I want to tell you about my conservative Republican friend, Greg Nibert. I strongly endorse Senator Greg Nibert and urge you to support him as well. Behind the scenes in Santa Fe, Greg is a strategist and a tactician who helps our side defeat the progressive agenda. We desperately need him to help us fight MLG's agenda. Greg is the only Republican lawyer in the state Senate, and we cannot stop bad leftist legislation without him. That is just one of the reasons it is crucial you turn out to vote in this election for Greg Nibert. He is the conservative leader that New Mexico needs. Please vote for Greg Nibert in the upcoming Republican primary for State Senate.
Paid for by Greg Nibert for State Senate.
Can't hear as well as you used to? That can happen to the best of us. But when you can't hear people speaking or birds chirping, it's time to take action. That's when it's time to call Howard Allman with Here on Earth Hearing Care Center. Howard has been helping people hear better for over 55 years. Howard is who helps the Artesia seniors with servicing their hearing aids of all makes with free cleaning and hearing evaluations. And he's ready to help you. Howard can share with you information on Audibel Intrigue AI hearing aids with many features you might not expect a hearing aid can do, such as using your hearing aids to stream calls, music, and more. Plus, health monitoring, count steps, even fall detection, all built in. Meet face-to-face with someone who can help you choose the right hearing aid for you. Call Howard at 575-622-0375, and he'll be glad to set up a time to meet with you. That's 575-622-0375 for Howard Allman of Here on Earth Hearing Care Center.
When it comes to fighting the governor and her progressive lackeys in the State House, we need a proven conservative.
This is Jared Hembry, and I have taken on the left-wing agenda as your conservative representative. New Mexico has serious issues, many of which are being ignored by the governor and the liberal left, and we need a representative who will fight to protect our way of life. I know what it takes to fight and win in Santa Fe. I am humbly asking for your trust and your vote on or before June 4th so I can continue to fight for what we believe.
Paid for by Jared Hembry for state representative.
Hi, this is Jim Gill from Roswell Seed Company, here to announce that our geraniums are ready. So now the great debate begins. Are they pink or are they raspberry sorbet? Are they orange or are they Caribbean coral? Well, whatever you call them, they're the prettiest geraniums anywhere. We raise them in our own greenhouse, then send them home with you to brighten up the world. So come get yours now while the selection is best. Don't worry about the silly names.
I heard that.
Yes, dear. Coming, dear. Right away, dear. Of course, you're right.
This is Chad Hamill, and I'm running to be your next senator for District 32. My opponent, Candy Azell, can't defend her 20-year record in the Santa Fe swamp, so she's attacking other people's families and kids on the radio. That's the difference in this race. Candy attacks other people's kids while I'm running to protect yours. And on my record, as a fire chief, I have seen the devastation of open borders. Fentanyl overdoses are out of control. As a small business owner here in the community, I know firsthand how politicians in Santa Fe have destroyed small businesses for our communities. As a previous school board member, I know local control has been ripped away from our schools. It is time for a change. The same old just isn't working. I will be your conservative voice in Santa Fe. Career politicians have gotten New Mexico into this mess, but as a firefighter, I've made my living running towards problems, and I'm ready to fix the problems. I humbly ask for your vote on June the 4th so we can put the fire out in Santa Fe. Paid for by Friends of Chad Hamill.
You can't hunt camels in Arizona, but you can buy them. They go for about $10 a pack. Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 27 minutes after 8 o'clock. And joining us in the studio this morning, Elaine Mayfield back with us wearing her Galacticon hat officially today. She's got many hats, but this one, we're just talking Galacticon today.
Yes.
Which if you're not familiar, is part of this year's, as it is always, part of the UFO Festival. And if you're not familiar, the UFO Festival this year, it's kind of because there's multiple entities doing things, Main Street, the Galacticon, the paper, the city, everyone's they got
UFO
the museum. They all have their own activities and events.
I call it a coalition.
Yeah,
I think that's
correct. And so when you go to the UFO Festival's website now, it's a combination of all the events together. So if you want to plan your weekend out, it's like, the museum's got a meet and greet thing over here, and then Galacticon, they got a panel discussion here. You can kind of plot and plan and be everywhere where you want to be and not miss any events at anybody's stuff here.
And then, of course, Chris Stock at the Roswell Daily Record puts out a fabulous supplement that'll be out that week.
That kind of gives you a little...
And it'll be an overall plan as well,
plan, guide, or you can kind of like back in the days when you used to wait for the TV guide to come in, and now you can plot with your television for the week. Now you can get that and plot your weekend as part of UFO Festival.
I quit taking TV guide when they wouldn't put in the correct time.
Yeah,
it was like you had to subtract 2 hours. No,
and in all fairness, I lucked out on that front because I grew up on the East Coast.
There you go.
So everything was centered around East Coast time. So I didn't have to play the game growing up. All right, it's on at 8. I mean, I got to backtrack 2 hours. But that being said, I lived in a world where Monday Night Football comes on at 9 o'clock at night. So,
exactly.
So there's that.
Dinner's at 10.
Yeah. So there's that. But Galacticon is, again, part of the UFO Festival.
Right, yeah. We
July
started in
5th through 7th here.
2012.
Yeah. And so, and all of the Galacticon stuff is at the Roswell Convention and Civic Center.
Correct.
So you can go, and then, of course, and highly recommend this, you kind of want to check back each day because there's different things going on each day. So you can get like a day pass or a pass that kind of, that way you can come and go and you don't have to.
You can come and go all day, right?
Yeah, you don't have to pay every time you go in there.
Yeah, we only charge $5, and that is, if you look at the prices on any other con anywhere, but we just need to pay for the room.
$5 won't even get you an autograph at half the panels anymore. No.
But that just, it pays for the room, and we're not trying to make money. We're there to entertain and have fun.
It's all about, and really what Galacticon and any con is, it's about bringing the culture and inviting
people that maybe aren't as invested in the culture
Right.
a chance to see a little bit about
Right.
it, you know?
And their kids are.
Yeah, I truly believe all of us have a little nerd in you.
I think
a little
so.
bit. Whether your nerd thing is a certain type of thing or whatever it is, we all have. It's just your own little. And to be honest, athletic types don't want to hear this. You jocks, you're nerds too. It's just you're nerds for footballs and baseballs, but you do the same nerd things with your footballs and baseballs as the nerds do with
It's
their
a fandom
with
thing.
their. Yeah, it's the same place, same id in the brain, the whole thing.
Yeah, everybody in sci-fi has their favorites. I'm a Farscape fan, which is, people, huh? But the wit on that show, and I grew up in the Star Trek era, so
And you know what? I have a huge soft spot for the Gil Gerard, Buck Rogers TV series because I was a kid right in that when it was out, and to me it was it even to me was even more than Star Wars because Star Wars was there, but I way dug the Buck Rogers toys better.
Oh, yeah.
I dug, you know what I mean?
I
And
remember
so-
watching, Will Robinson, Lost in Space. And
But that late 70s Buck Rogers was kind of where I kind of got in as a kid.
with the wonderful sci-fi effects, right?
Yes. And what's her name from Silver Spoons was in it too. Something Gray, I think her name was Aaron Gray.
Aaron Gray.
Yeah, that's her name.
Yeah.
But anyway, but that's what Galacticon is. It's a celebration of all.
Right,
of
and we
that.
and we call it a sci-fi con, not a comic con. A comic con is centered more in the comic.
Sure.
But now there's the cons for everything: anime con and
Yeah.
sci-fi con and steampunk con.
And that's kind of how the con just evolved anyway.
It just means convention.
Yeah, a con was originally a bunch of people in probably a hotel somewhere in the middle of Detroit or wherever, with boxes of comic books.
Right.
And they're trading and
how
selling.
comic
And that's
convention.
how San Diego, it started there. And then, of course, now a Comic Con in San Diego's basically the official release of anything, that's got a universe.
Yeah, and tickets are hundreds.
Yeah, and you got to fight to get in, and you got to know people. Yeah, it's a whole thing. But and then of course, now there's cons. Albuquerque has their con every year, and things like that. And Galacticon is Roswell's con here. And but like you said, the whole con concept has evolved since the 60s or 70s, whenever these started.
Probably, later than that, maybe. I'm not sure
maybe in the
exactly
80s?
when.
I was thinking 70s, maybe they started doing cons.
Could be.
But anyway.
Well, we were first Cosmicon, which is a cool name.
Yeah.
But we got a cease and desist letter from Comic-Con in San Diego.
That was too close.
And we didn't have the bucks to fight that one.
Yeah, they got too many lawyers at this point and everything else. So Galacticon it's now evolved over the years to Galacticon here.
Right.
And it's like you said, it's all things sci-fi over the years, and even still to this day, there is a kind of a little bit bigger or stronger steampunk culture as part of this because some of the founding and original people,
here that
came
helped
from that.
us, yeah.
And so
it
there's
started
still-
off as a film.
originally
a film
kinda-
festival, and through Alan Trevor
Yeah.
and some of the people, but. As it went by, he moved, and we didn't have anybody else with that passion.
So it evolved
so it kind of evolved into the con part of it with the merch hall and various aspects of
it's
entertainment.
Now it's kind of all things science
and
fiction.
the Roswell Daily Record picked up a couple of years ago the film festival.
Excellent. So it's great to see we still have it, just kind of in kind of a more
Takes
modern
passion.
or evolved form, I guess, a little bit here. And but so like I said, I highly recommend you go and get a schedule, check out all the stuff. I even if you don't think there's anything in that building that you're interested in, I guarantee you're going to go through and be like, oh, that's kind of cool. I want to check that out. Like even if you're into arts and crafts and decor and things, there's so much of that there. Obviously there is the collectibles and the cosplay and the costuming and all that kind of stuff but part of it too is the world of it and the decor and the here's a Star Wars theme plate set or stuff. You know what I mean? It's kind of
exactly.
Yeah, it's as much of gifts and collectibles and things like that. And so even if say maybe you have with Father's Day, we'll probably pass Father, but with the season, shopping, even if you maybe you got a bunch of
Hey, I do my Christmas shopping year round.
Exactly. I'm just saying. You got some friends or family that is into these things. Be like, hey, I can go shopping. It's like find these collectibles, find these things that your family will love. Do that as part of this too. But it's really a family community. Come and meet the people, and that's the great part about it is whether you're into Pokemon or you're into Marvel or you're into something very obscure, some anime or something that like you and 3 other people know about. That they all come together and they all and it's a sharing of a love of that and a compare and contrast and not gonna lie, I'm sure they start little debates on why one's cooler than the other and this, that is that and try to sway people to your side and stuff. But there's gonna be gaming. It's really a weekend.
Right, we have a very strong gaming component.
And that's kind of evolving into it too. Is like you're talking about evolving in things as you see, people making 6-figure salaries on gaming nowadays. That's becoming part of the mainstream and part of
and it had a resurgence during the pandemic because people were at home and they're like, oh, I'm so bored. Oh, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. So there is a lot of demand for that. So this con's even evolved to a point where that's even coming in to where you're getting the gamers coming in with the cosplayers and the comic book collectors and and granted, a lot of these folks have a foot in all 3. Like they play some of the games. They also are cosplayers, and they have a room full of Funko Pops and things.
That's right. We definitely have a Funko Pop guy coming, that's for sure. If you don't know what that is, look it up or ask your teenager.
Yes.
or preteen.
Yeah, they're kind of like, but you can spot them. Once you spot them right away. Yeah. All Funko Pops have a unique, artistic look to each one of them.
Right.
So
they're small little figurines with big heads.
It gets the best of real form versus cartoon mashing
and they're
together.
everything you can think of. I mean,
where you get the Seth MacFarlanes and these guys that try to create in elaborate detail. Funko's a little less serious than that.
Exactly, but they have them for everything. I mean, you can find every character
from
you can
Simpsons
think of.
to Breaking Bad to probably obscure things that that no one else knows.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Talk about marketing.
Yeah. Woo. Well, that's in the collectible world. I think they took the lessons of your Beanie Babies and Cabbage Patch Kids and kind of evolved it into something a little
bit, but more recognizable.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
And absolutely. But that's what Galacticon is. It's really 3 days of just
we have
fun.
a few changes this year. We when the city stepped back. The full main hall became available, so we rented that. So we really need more vendors.
So we're hoping
Now's
to
the time.
More space, more vendors, more activities, more everything. So,
and so we're doing that. We're increasing the size of our Star Child Academy, which is a real children's area, and they'll have takeaways, things they can take. Angela Strange does that. She does a fabulous job.
What perfect place, because at the end of the day, Galacticon is all about imagination.
Exactly.
And what better place
than to start that,
Start that right there.
Absolutely.
And give them the world. It's like all the universes are at your disposal here.
Exactly.
Have fun with it,
So we've got the big hall. We also have a small, one of the rooms B, that we have a free hall that people can come in and hear some interesting talks and a workshop and some odd things like that.
Panels and kind of pick brains of people and things like that.
The city has stepped back as far as running events and are going back to like it was before with lodgers tax funding for promotion and marketing. And one of the things, they let each of us put in a request for a grant from lodgers tax and things. And what we decided to do was a free, family-oriented water and playground park.
Excellent. Which it's always hot during your festival weekend, so a nice little place to cool off a little bit.
And we have hired Let's Play Entertainment.
Excellent.
To do because they have great.
Oh yeah,
stuff
they got all their stuff for parties
and managed
bounce
people
houses
there
and all the water, even water bounce houses and things. Yeah, they
so
got
we'll have all that there all 3 days,
Excellent.
And so that's a good draw for people to come up and let the kids lose some energy.
Yeah. Are they going to bring the sumo and those things too?
I don't think so. We don't have a lot of room for that.
Okay. That was just in case someone needed
on grass.
If someone need to get some aggression out, take it to the sumo ring.
I also didn't pick the mechanical bull. However.
Well,
we're kind of gearing toward maybe.
I'm not trying to stereotype here, but people
that spend hours and hours loving the world that you'll see in Galacticon probably are not the best athletes on a mechanical bull.
Probably not.
Just doesn't vibe together. Just saying, read the room on that. But,
Exactly.
But if you want to get a fat suit and punch out, I think that's a good idea. But anyway.
You're right. Yeah, I like that. Feel like a robot. But we're really excited about having that opportunity, and the RDR, Roswell Daily Record, shares the convention center with us, and
Absolutely.
they'll be doing the film festival.
Yeah,
and they're going to be doing a free film on Thursday night. Remember, we used to do that.
Oh, yeah.
Way
Come
back
out
in
and
the
watch
day.
The movie and bring
And
sometimes on the lawn there, you go bring a blanket and
Right.
usually
So we'll
some
be
food
doing
trucks
that.
or some vendors there.
And that patio's enclosed now, but that's where we'll be doing the film. But it is free, and so we encourage everybody to come out Thursday
bring
night.
the kids, the family.
They're also hosting Clyde Lewis on Friday night.
Excellent.
And then they'll be doing the films of the day, and hopefully showing the winning films from the festival on Sunday, and in that time.
For all you
period.
Clyde Lewis fans, if you've never seen him live, I highly recommend you get a chance to see. It's so cool. To me, now I'm a radiophile, so you hear the Clyde Lewis, his opening music. I'm Clyde Lewis. Like every time I hear, that sounds cool.
Yeah.
But to see him do it in person and do it, it's kind of it hit me different,
Exactly.
And I've seen it a couple dozen times.
Well, he'll be
now.
at the convention center on Friday, and then he'll go between downtown and the museum on Saturday and Sunday, back and forth a little bit. So, but the main thing, we have air conditioning.
That, you know what?
I must repeat.
Maybe that's the first thing. Galacticon on the big poster.
The poster.
Galacticon air conditioned comfort.
Yeah, absolutely. And we do lock up at night, which and the vendor wise, we
Absolutely.
get the vendor, maybe a jeweler that doesn't want to be on the street
They
and
have lots
to
of merchandise.
haul it back
That's
again.
expensive
Yeah.
stuff. And,
so we get the jewelers and that type of thing. We have many vendors, and we have some interesting ones this year that are coming. Some authors from way out of town.
Oh, great. So some great, and some local authors as well, too.
Yeah, John,
Matter of fact, next
John
hour, our
LeMay and
guest
E.J.
will be-
Wilson.
yeah. John's going to be in next hour promoting his new book. So
yes,
he
and
will
he'll
be at
there.
Galacticon.
And
with
he's
us.
always there, and he's fabulous to talk to and chat with. E.J. Wilson from Dexter is a Star Trek expert.
Excellent.
And he sells his Star Trek book, and he does also fictional writing.
Ooh, because they get in all kinds of debates in the Star Trek world.
Oh,
you know?
yeah.
Especially
Yeah.
depending on, and it's usually based on age. Like older people like the original Star Trek, maybe get into the next generation. Younger, probably like one of the more newer series kind of things, and that creates all kinds of debates.
Yeah. And we have Frank back with his droids, the little R2D2s.
Those are always
that
hits
work.
at the Galacticon.
Yes, everybody loves them.
Interacting with everybody.
Right.
is
And
the
he goes
weekend
between us and the UFO Museum as well.
So he'll be out and about all weekend.
Yeah,
so.
he'll be there all weekend. He's kind of headquarters with us and goes over there for a couple hours each day.
Everyone's headquartering where the air conditioning is.
You bet.
That.
It's real easy to offer that.
That's right. And people are very accepting of, yeah. They're kind of hoping. Hopefully somebody sits up over there because they got air conditioning.
Exactly. And I also have coming in this year named Steve Garcia.
Okay.
He's an animator and an illustrator, born and raised in Albuquerque.
Excellent.
Yeah, lives in Austin now. And he is coming. And he did Iron Giant.
The Iron Giant, which was
He's
a very
done
popular movie.
Very family oriented.
Yeah.
We're going to try to get that rented and shown.
Excellent.
Yeah. And,
is that a Disney property or Pixar? The
I
Iron
don't
Giant?
think so.
I don't remember. I'm trying to remember if that was one or not.
I don't think so because it's available on SWAC or
And that's
whatever.
what I'm about to say. I was like, if it's Disney, it might be harder to
Forget
procure.
it. Yeah, exactly. Yes.
But I was trying to think, is that Disney?
I do.
Pixar?
That reminds me. I think they are showing Saturday night after the parade. They're showing a film as well.
Excellent.
Clyde Lewis on Friday and then that. So,
Good deal.
Yeah, the parade is at 8:00 on Saturday. And but anyway, Steve Garcia, super nice guy. Bringing him in. He's going to have a booth there. You can meet him and talk to him, and especially you young people that are interested in drawing and artistry. I think that's a great place to start.
Absolutely. Get that. It's granted, we live in a world where computers and things do a lot of things that we had to do by hand in the previous. However, I think when you're in that art form, use the technology to everything that it's advanced, but you got to know the basics. You got to know.
That's right.
You got to know the origins of it. You know, like the best musicians, sure, in this day and age, if you know how to work a computer, you could be a musician, but the real best musicians understand music and the composition and how it's done. It's no different when
creating animation or artwork in that way. You got to know.
You got to be able to grab a piece of paper and a
know
pencil.
The rules. Yeah, you got to know the rules and the formulas to make. And then once you know that, then you can bend them and manipulate them to create the art that you want. You know,
exactly. So, but it's a great place to talk to somebody that's been there and done that.
So exactly, firsthand experience. A person that got into the circles that you yourself are dreaming about one day to be in.
Exactly.
You're in the room at Disney or Pixar or whatever, creating the next Frozen movie or whatever's out there.
Exactly.
That's exactly. So
we also will be doing cosplay this year. We have for many years did the alien costume contest for Main Street, but they are doing it now as well. We are still doing the pet contest.
Okay,
and
but you can still sign up through the same
we all
website
work
because it's
together.
all together.
It's a coalition. We're all working
but
together.
But as far as the actual hat, who's making sure it happens, Main Street's taking over the.
So the costume contest is on Saturday at 6, and that's because it's before the parade.
Yes.
So we are having it all day on Saturday with giving awards at 4:00.
Okay.
And we're going to do kind of a people's choice thing.
Okay.
With a kind of like you do on a raffle.
Okay. So where can they vote at Galacticon?
Yeah, it's only at Galacticon there that
so
they
when
can
you're
vote.
in there sucking up air conditioning and checking out, make sure you vote on your favorite costumes too.
Right.
Yeah.
And we had 16 cosplayers at Tal Day.
Oh, great.
Last weekend.
Excellent.
We had a great time Tal Day last weekend.
Yeah,
it was fun.
I saw the photos.
Very laid back, very interesting.
As the whole event is designed to be. You know, it's
much more laid back than a con.
Yeah, it's so if you did see people walk around town with a towel over their shoulder over the weekend, and you missed our radio and everything, and wondering what that was going, it was Towel Day.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
It was, the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy homage to the author of that.
Absolutely. So, but we had, like I said, 16 cosplayers, which we were thrilled.
Yeah, and it was really
some
great.
Good prizes.
It was a great treat to we had Oddfell on here last week.
Isn't she a joy?
It was great to talk to her, and she was fun to talk to, and kind of I like talking with people like that to get a little inside baseball in the cosplay world, and she was very receptive to share that with us. And I loved it because that's the part I love about these things. Even if I'm not into that thing per se, I love how the thing got to be where it is. That's where I get fascinated by. Like I haven't watched wrestling since I was 8 years old, but I'll watch every documentary about the era and the times and the old because I just love that. I love hearing those stories and hearing
we're docuphiles.
Yeah, how it happened. So, but anyway, Galacticon's a lot of that too. So please come out now. That being said, we still have room for vendors and things.
Yes.
If, like we said, we got more space this year. So
yes, I doubled the space, so I need vendors.
If you are interested in being a vendor at this year's Galacticon, it is not too late.
Right.
However, please don't wait anymore. Please get in touch. Please
get
in touch with Elaine.
We're
now.
almost June.
Yeah, we're
day after tomorrow.
We're almost under a month away.
Yeah, it's like 5 weeks away from today or tomorrow. Whatever tomorrow.
As of here in a day or two, it's
and
next
of course
month,
we have vendors outside at the Main Street. We have vendors inside at the Galacticon, and we'll have probably 4 or 5 food vendors at Galacticon. You can actually request to be at the convention center.
Excellent.
And we'll take about 4 or 5. We don't want to overload.
Sure. Well, and we don't want them to outcompete each other either.
No,
give them a good variety for people. It's like, we got a burrito
everybody
truck.
Everybody got to make money.
We got a burger truck. We got a pizza truck or whatever,
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they can go either direction or whatever. And,
absolutely. And of course, the idea is you're going to get hungry more than once because you want to hang out. You be there in the morning,
and the children are playing. You're going to have to feed them a little bit.
couple 3 hours later, you're hankering for a taco or something.
That's right. Yeah, exactly.
So please come out, and of course, obviously, if you're looking to be a vendor during the UFO festival, I point back to Galacticon has air conditioning and all those things that are the perks here.
Right, and we do charge a little bit more, but we have a big building to pay for.
Sure,
and
like
and security.
We lock up. And to be honest, your customer linger time is going to be longer. I mean, I'm just do basic bare bones marketing. If your customers are in a more comfortable situation, they're going to stop and look at jewelry a little bit longer.
That's right.
If they're hot and sweaty, they're like, oh, that's nice, but it's too hot. Move on to the next. You know what I mean?
I'll come back later.
Where in Galacticon, they're probably killing time. Maybe they're thinking, well, I got to go next thing at 3 o'clock and it's hot. But I'm going to hang out in the air conditioner for an hour till then.
Exactly.
And they're going to linger longer.
And we charge $5 as admission. It's very reasonable. So, children are free, 11 and under.
So all you business heads out there, I'm offering you that as a good alternative here
Absolutely.
for the UFO Festival to get the best of both worlds, get a great crowd, get
people that are going to be there longer. And by the way, more comfort for you because you're in air conditioning and you don't have to worry about, and your feet from a bathroom at any time.
That's true. Several.
Which outside, you can't guarantee that always.
Let me just run through the days because it's interesting. 4th of July is Thursday this year.
Yeah, it is a little unique. It's post 4th of July.
It's actually one of the best.
Yeah. It's not a bad
I've been doing this since 2007, and it really is the best because people are off that week now.
And there's always been, and Roswell in this community has done a great job of separating the two.
We always shut it off.
There's always an undertone of, man, the 4th of July should nothing do with you because it's its own thing. And yes, you're right, we do, but because now that the 4th is first, it allows a little more buffer between the UFO Festival and
But
July
people
4th.
have that and usually set Friday off.
Yes.
So they come on with Friday noon to 6 Galacticon, and till late at night we'll be at the downtown.
Yeah.
It'll be like 10 or 11. So Saturday, 10 in the morning we start, and we cut off at 6.
Okay.
Again, parade is at 8. They got things going downtown, and downtown is fabulous with all kinds of music and everything.
You go through Main Street Roswell to register for the parade, right? If you
Yes. Main Street does
and we're
the
going to
parade.
get them on here
Right.
soon here to tell everybody. But
Right. I'm
if
on
you're
that committee.
if you're interested in being in the UFO Festival parade, always alien themed lights.
Yes.
It's at night.
It's at 8 o'clock at night.
Yeah. So,
Which is not dark yet, by the way.
No, yeah, no, not July in New Mexico.
By the time they get down the road, maybe.
But they turn off the town lights downtown, so it's a little bit darker, and then they care. But now's the time to get with Main Street, get your entry forms turned in and all that, so they can get the lineup and get all that.
And
put
the costume
together.
contest as well.
And same with the costume and pet costume contest.
Right, and then the Sunday we're 10 to 4.
Excellent.
Yeah, and RDR also has some late night things. Like I said, Clyde Lewis free films at the convention center as well.
Excellent.
And the playground water park will probably follow ours unless if they're making if people are there and happy. I'm sure he's not going to close.
Exactly.
Sergio's a good guy.
Yeah, he'll be there as long as the people are, pretty much.
And then the pet costume contest, they can enter that even the day of.
Excellent.
And
but
it's on the courthouse lawn.
Be kind to the
9
planners
o'clock.
and give them a little head. That way they can plan
it does
accordingly.
help. Yes, it does.
And if you've never been a part of those costume contests, get your butt out there this year and watch them and check them out. That's so much fun.
We've had 1,000 people watching.
And granted, UFO Festival, we want to invite the world to come see us, but the costume contests are kind of the local. I mean, it doesn't have to be. We all are invited to party, but that's the one thing the locals really like to embrace, is the cost. So a lot of times the dogs, and we get amazing families that bring their dogs, cats.
We had a horse one year.
Horses. I would say it's not always been dogs or cats.
They painted a horse green.
Sometimes it's been animals of the farm and ranch variety.
And we had a bedazzled bearded dragon. It is fun. And the Real Pickles Kennel Club is in charge of that with the Galacticon.
Yeah.
And the Wildlife Emporium is our new sponsor.
Oh,
on
excellent.
That. Yeah.
So please check those out. Come watch them. And certainly if you
9 o'clock Saturday morning.
Yeah, and they're great.
Well, it's cool.
Yeah.
Sorry it's early, but it's cool.
The pets and the paws and everything else, that's what they do it on the grass. So it keeps it, but ideally we don't want the pets exposed to too much heat out there.
Exactly. And it's on the courthouse steps. So.
Yeah, when you got a furry butt and you pant through your tongue, you tend to get hot quicker. So.
That's right. 2-legged or 4-legged.
That's right. Never mind. But the big things now is we still need vendors. If you're interested in being a vendor, please reach out. Sign up now. I know this is more of a Main Street thing, but for the various contests and everything that you want to get involved in, please go to the UFO Festival's website. Start the complete schedule events for everything. Definitely through Galacticon. I'm guessing the other entities have their schedule events up there as well. That way you can start planning and plotting. If you got family coming into town that weekend, you can kind of start teasing them and maybe sending them stuff. Say, hey, is there certain things you want to do while you're here? Here's the schedule at UFO Festival.
Yeah, at minimal cost. I mean, it's $7 to get in the UFO Museum.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you haven't been there in a while, you need to go.
They've done a lot of
they're really getting up, electronics,
kind of high teching up a little bit,
high teching it up, and interaction and things of that sort.
Absolutely.
And they've been doing a lot over there. There's a lot to see.
And to be honest, most of us, just general public folks, we see the museum and we look at the various artifacts and go, that's cool, or you think it's real? Do you think we have?
Well, I was there 2 years ago. I didn't need to go back.
But the real treasure of the museum is the research center for people that are researching and trying to find evidence. And there is a whole, and most people don't even walk through that side, and it's open to the public. Libraries and rooms full of books and
it is a research center,
and it is a literal UFO library, as well as a museum and all that other stuff. So I invite people to, especially if you've been to the museum a few times and think, go to the research side and check things out. I guarantee you'll find a chair, pick up a book, and you'll probably be lost for the next 3 hours. That's
absolutely. But like I say, it's a very low cost, fun time for 3 full days.
Absolutely.
You could spend less than $100.
Absolutely.
For the whole weekend for the whole family.
Now, if you want to spend more, you can, because we got lots.
And you can spend less than that too, if you don't eat there.
Yeah. And that's the cool thing too, is as far as the local side, obviously always being the ambassadors and all that, but it is that chance to try new things that come to town too. When you get these vendors, and obviously even the outdoor vendors with the unique food creations and their alien eggs and all these different. That's part of the fun too, is the experience. So you could turn it into a culinary weekend, you could turn it into a sci-fi weekend, you could turn it into an alien thing, or you can just turn it into a weekend of all of the above.
Get your fix.
So say you're like, well, I'm not into aliens, but I'm a foodie. All right, well then make it do a pub crawl type thing and just hit every food stand and food truck and vendor and compare and contrast.
There you go.
Have some fun with it. Get one thing at each one. Make it your weekend. Just
exactly
as much of that thing. And so,
exactly. It's home.
Absolutely. And if you want to get the uberest of nerd, guess what? You got a bunch of people with you. If you're just passing through, like, I just want to see the people in the foil hats, come on down. We love that too.
Well, and I try to tell people that there's a very serious side to this as well. There's the fun side with the foil hats. That was what reminded me. But there's also speakers at the UFO Museum that are on a very serious side.
And they're going to make you think.
Yeah, people that have an abduction story.
Yeah.
And
that's the thing that gets me every time. I kind of come in, it's like, something happened. I don't know. I don't know, but there's too many people with too many experiences that you just can't brush off as crazy. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And so I just saw the time. I got to get ads in.
I know.
But please give out the UFO
can always
Festival.
talk.
Yes, right. And we're going to have her on. But give out the UFO Festival website one more time for everybody.
The UFO Festival website is just RoswellUFOFestival.com. Right.
Yes.
And we're RoswellGalactica.com.
I always botch it and say like I get those or something mixed up.
Yeah, and that's AlienFest.com is the Main Street.
Excellent. And then, but all of that you can find at either one of everyone.
Yeah, just Roswell UFO Festival take you right there.
And what's the best way to get a hold of you if they want to be a vendor or any part of this year's Galacticon?
Probably go to RoswellGalacticon.com.
Excellent.
It has my contact
number, email, and
applications
and
stuff. Yeah.
Very good. Well, thank you, ma'am. We'll see you here next time. And
absolutely.
I'm sure got a few.
We only got 5 weeks. We'll be here a lot.
Absolutely.
There's a lot to say.
There is. All right. It is 8:58. I got to take this break before news. It's going to run long. I apologize, but I got to play the ads or I get in trouble. So quick break. We'll be back.
This is Chad Hamill, and I'm running to be your next senator for District 32. My opponent, Candy Azale, can't defend her 20-year record in the Santa Fe swamp, so she's attacking other people's families and kids on the radio. That's the difference in this race. Candy attacks other people's kids while I'm running to protect yours. And on my record, as a fire chief, I have seen the devastation of open borders. Fentanyl overdoses are out of control. As a small business owner here in the community, I know firsthand how politicians in Santa Fe have destroyed small businesses for our communities. As a previous school board member, I know local control has been ripped away from our schools. It is time for a change. The same old just isn't working. I will be your conservative voice in Santa Fe. Career politicians have gotten New Mexico into this mess, but as a firefighter, I've made my living running towards problems, and I'm ready to fix the problems. I humbly ask for your vote on June the 4th so we can put the fire out in Santa Fe. Paid for by Friends of Chad Hamill.
Artesia General Hospital recently welcomed urogynecologist Scott Beard to the team. Dr. Beard is board certified in obstetrics and gynecology, as well as female pelvic medicine and reconstructive surgery. With nearly 25 years of experience in women's health, he treats conditions such as incontinence, chronic pelvic pain, prolapse, endometriosis, and others, offering surgical and non-surgical care options. Dr. Beard joins our women's services team currently working out of Memorial Family Practice in Artesia and is accepting new patients. Learn more and schedule your visit at artesiageneral.com/UROGYN or call 575-736-8394.
Every person listening to this ad right now will agree we as a nation are facing an uncertain future. We're at a crossroads. The status quo has failed us. We've got to fight. We've got to take back what we have lost. With your vote, you can join this fight. We can no longer squander our vote and our voice as if we're voting in a high school popularity contest. Nor can we continue electing self-serving politicians that claim to fight for you while making backroom deals that have facilitated the erosion of your liberties while destroying our livelihoods. My association with various different grassroots organizations, patriot groups, and activists has led to statewide citizen participation efforts to initiate grand jury investigations and the referendum of historically egregious laws. Similar efforts are being planned. These efforts will continue far into the future. We have within our reach the tools and weapons we need to end this tyranny and stop the assault on our faith, our liberties, and our way of life. We have the God-given authority to take back what we have lost. If you vote for Larry Marker, you're not voting for me, you're voting for we.
Paid for by the committee to elect Larry Marker.
To know that I was able to succeed as a parent for basic needs because I had that help.
New Mexico's Modern Child Support Services Division works to benefit both parents for the purpose of improving children's lives.
We established paternity, and then they were able to assist me in setting up child support payments that not only was agreeable to me, but my daughter's biological father. It helped me help her thrive. It helped me be the best parent I could be.
Visit yes.nm.gov today.
This is State Representative Jim Townsend. I want to tell you why Candy Spence-Ezell is the best choice to be your next state senator. Candy is consistently ranked as one of the most conservative legislators in the entire New Mexico legislature. That's why the attacks on her in this race have been so ridiculous. The vote her opponent says was for illegal immigrants. Well, actually, that healthcare vote was to keep rural hospitals open during COVID, and every Republican in the legislature in Santa Fe that day voted for it, even the liberal Republicans supporting her opponent. The vote Candy's opponent says was for critical race theory was an education bill that, again, every Republican in the legislature in Santa Fe that day voted for. The attacks on Candy's characters are lies. Candy is a tried and true conservative Republican. Please vote Candy Spence-Ezell for State Senate.
Paid for by Candy Spence-Ezell for State Senate District 32.
The activists have been convicted under the strict national security law imposed by Beijing.
The judge agreed with the prosecutors saying that if these people who participated in the unofficial primary election back in 2020 would ever go into the Legislative Council and exercise their plan to veto every single government budget, that would create a constitutional crisis, causing difficulties for the government, the Hong Kong government, to run its business. So they were found guilty of subversion, but the charge in Chinese is subversion against state power. So they have been accused of trying to overthrow the Chinese government.
Iran has opened a 5-day registration period for hopefuls wanting to run in the June 28th presidential election. News and analysis at townhall.com. Heartbreak for an Olympic champion gymnast.
Gabby Douglas is injured, forcing her to back out of the U.S. Championships and making her ineligible for the 2024 Olympics in Paris. The three-time Olympic gold medalist hurt her ankle during training for the weekend's event in Fort Worth, Texas. The event would have been gymnast comeback and her first Olympics since 2016. Douglas would have been the oldest American woman to compete since the 1950s if she had made the team at the age of 28. Tasha Stevens reporting.
A hacker ring claims to have stolen the user data of more than 500 million Ticketmaster customers worldwide, reportedly trying to sell the information on the dark web for hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's said to include customer names and phone numbers, along with emails, addresses, and credit card information. Let's get on Wall Street this hour. Stocks keep in the red. The Nasdaq down 124. More on these stories at townhall.com.
What in the wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man in this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The devil listen, what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 6 minutes after 9 o'clock. Welcome to hour number 3.
Crazy
heroes of Mornings with Mike Winters, right here on 106.5 Roswell Talk FM. Happy Thursday.
Yes.
Going well. It's going to be hot.
Yeah, it's going to be another scorcher.
But it's not going to be next week hot.
No. I need to get ACs installed. I'm sitting currently on 2 uninstalled air conditioners.
Let's say that you had that one that was brought here. Is that one waiting to get hooked up to something?
I just haven't placed it yet. It's one of those things where it's like it's too hot to go and, break out the step ladder and the drill to get the thing screwed. It's like, I'll wait till the sun goes down, then maybe I'll get one installed.
You know what you should do? Mm-hmm. Wait till your next wrestling pay-per-view. Invite
the guys
and say, here you go, put this AC in for me.
Here you go, boys.
Put that on there. You throw some chips on them.
Come on, fellas.
Just do it early enough to get the place all nice and comfortable before the time starts.
Before it all goes down. Yeah, pay-per-view starts at 5 or 6 o'clock. I'm going to have you guys over here at 2:45. Come on over. And dress to get dirty.
That's right. bring some cold ones. You're going to need them. Yeah, I mean, that's the move.
I'll have snacks and clearly drinks.
And if you get here early enough, it'll be nice and cool by the time the
wrestling starts. It will be comfortable.
But, do what you got to do.
Mm-hmm.
Don't put it in upside down.
No, it's a pretty simple thing to do, other than the fact that they weigh 1,000 pounds, and I got to kind of get it in place.
Yeah, they don't make them light.
Definitely a 2-man operation for sure.
Yeah, and even the smaller ones are heavier in Hades.
Yeah, that one just from the boombox was. Yeah, I mean that was.
But even ones I've seen that are smaller than that one are like. Good Lord, what are they? It's like it's like old TVs,
right?
Like even a little 13-inch TV.
Oh, I know,
a ton.
Dude. I got a TV from Mom's house for Hunter's room yesterday. It's one of those smart TVs, those on smart TVs. I literally picked it up and carried it with one hand.
Yeah,
is like this wouldn't happen 20 years ago.
Yeah,
you have to call some guys over to help you move your 20-inch.
I remember getting that 13-inch and they put it up on the dresser in my bedroom as a kid. This isn't like last week, and I remember like putting it up on the shoulder.
Like that was a real danger for kids growing up. Was the whole don't.
There's been kids killed.
Yeah, don't ever put your TVs on top of your dressers because horrible things could. Nowadays, if that happened, kid would get like a bump on his head. Even if a TV fell directly on him, he'd be like, "Ow! That's gonna smart for a week."
Then they had TVs that were part of furniture.
Most of my all the TVs growing up were early
that was furniture.
Yeah, every single one of them, and of course depending on
the TV in our living room was about the size of the boombox.
Yeah,
it was massive. I mean the speakers on either side.
And I remember the TV my mom and dad had. Well, yeah, they had. It was an apartment we were living in, and it was literally. I don't know, 20-inch or whatever would have been a big screen at that time. Like that looked big.
Yeah,
but it was a full floor model, but it was black and white. it wasn't even a color TV.
Nice.
It was a black and white. So like I remember watching Chips, for instance, Ponch. And my first images of Ponch and Chips was in black and white.
Well, that's because you don't see color like that.
Because I didn't have a color TV.
I do remember, and this was the very redneck days of. I do remember having our working TV on top of our non-working TV.
That's
because the shelf was the TV holder, and that was the massive
or the aluminum foil antenna snake that went all around.
And when VCRs came out, the remote controls were wired into the VCR.
See, I
had like a 10-foot wire. Yeah,
I was a generation after the wired-in controller. Thank goodness.
No, we had it.
But I was the generation of the tracking, like the VCR tracking, that would never be right.
Yeah.
Or even worse, it would get really, really choppy at a certain specific part of, or certain specific parts of a movie.
Wore out the tape.
That would rat you out to your parents. It's like, oh, how come this scene in Basic Instinct is a little choppy?
My wife has no idea what you're talking about. That's a dude thing.
That probably is.
Okay, that's not something girls did.
I'm not saying I did. I know what you're talking about. So.
Not something girls.
In all fairness, she did too, but it's like the
scene in Ghost,
or it's the Shamalama Ding Dong scene from Grease, where they keep playing that over.
Hey,
again.
I'm a man who appreciates a good hand jive too. Okay,
good.
All right.
Or the hand jive.
I know them too. I've seen it 100 times. Hand job,
yeah.
I know the songs. I've heard them a million times. I know all of them too. Beauty School Dropout. I know all of them.
If you've been married to me, you know.
Well, I told you, I've seen the movie 1,000 times.
Dude.
Getting back to my story, our very first VCR, and there wasn't Blockbusters anywhere.
Right.
There was like one Errol's video store that was like a closet that had like a shady dude with tapes. But it was before, because no one had VCRs yet. It wasn't a thing. And so, but you could record off TV.
Right.
Yeah.
And so my mom recorded a TV airing of Grease during Christmas.
Cool.
And I know it's Christmas because I've seen the Coca-Cola Christmas commercials was in every break. Yeah. And so that was, as a kid with 3 channels and nothing else to watch, I watched the race scene from Grease. And so I've seen the movie 1,000 times, and sometimes the whole go Grease Lightning, you're burning up the car, all of the songs. But I got the TV edited version.
Yeah.
So years later, I saw it not TV edited, and like there's lines in that "Go Grease Lightning" song that were different than the ones that are on the.
Not
the chicks were what? I was like, I missed that part in the TV version.
Yeah. It's really funny to me how we used to look hard for versions of movies without the commercials in them. But now looking back, all I want to do is go back and watch vintage commercials. That's all I like. If it ever pops up where you see a commercials collection from 1987, I'm like, ooh, I want to see these.
Yeah, they kept playing it was the Christmas commercial with "I Want to Teach the World," teach the world to sing, and so they collectively showed it all over the world, and then they show this globe of people singing.
Oh yeah,
I remember that one.
It every break during that.
This last weekend, when Ayana was here, we ended up watching Press Your Luck, which is on I think Hulu or one of those. And it shows contestants or non-winning contestants will take home the following prizes, and it shows the old popcorn maker / juicer thing.
Effordent.
Yeah, it was
Polydent.
Lose weight fast with AIDS.
Yeah.
AIDS kids used to be a chewable weight loss supplement.
Yeah, then AIDS came and destroyed their marketing.
I'll tell you what, AIDS really messed up AIDS' whole marketing campaign.
It did. It just did.
Added in.
Yeah, people didn't want that anymore for some reason. I don't know why. But, yeah. Certs with Retsin. Folgers, classic roast coffee. And the Ronco hair curler.
Oh, of course. Pocket Fisherman. The one that I wanted so desperately when I was a kid was the dehydrator. The Ronco, because it just like you can make your own beef jerky.
Yeah.
Well, we never had one, but
I've never seen anyone actually do that with it.
Anytime I've ever seen one in real life, it was at the Goodwill for $1.25.
Yeah, but say, everyone bought it, used it once, said this sucks, and then
did it with like bananas.
Sent it in Goodwill, pretty much. But let me give you the rundown for this hour of the show. Author John LeMay going to join us. He's going to talk about his latest book, which is called New Mexico's Lost Worlds and Enchanted Lands. And, of course, he will be at Galacticon signing and autographing books and all that, what have you. But we'll talk with John about his latest and what he's got is up to. And, of course, maybe talk a little historical society while he's here because, that's what we do.
Absolutely.
And, of course, later on we'll get you up to date with news and what have you and whatever else we can come up with for this hour of the show. Before we do anything else, sorry, the bad news bear has the weather. Here it is.
I'm meteorologist Jennifer Naramore with your Pecos Valley weather. Mainly clear conditions moving in area-wide for the early morning time. Our low dropping close to 65 degrees. Heating back up a little bit more on Thursday. Lots of sunshine coming in. Highs are hitting the upper 90s to near 100 degrees. We have a small chance of a pop-up thunderstorm Friday around the Roswell area. Highs there low 90s. Otherwise, we're hitting 95 for Carlsbad and for Artesia. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Naramore.
Thank you, Jennifer. Currently 79 degrees here in Roswell. Humidity is at, I didn't scroll. Hold on. Humidity is at 50%. Winds are currently out of the south at 8 miles per hour. Sunny and hot, highs expected to hit near 100 today, 99 officially. Winds will be out of the south 10 to 15 miles per hour. Clear tonight with an overnight low of 63 degrees, south winds 5 to 15 miles per hour. Friday, they're tacking on a 20% chance for afternoon showers and thunderstorms. They're talking after 3 p.m. Sunny and 94 tomorrow with winds out of the north, shifting to the southeast, 5 to 10 miles per hour. Friday night, 20% chance of showers as well, mainly before midnight. Partly cloudy with an overnight low of 64 degrees, south winds 5 to 15. Saturday, we're also looking at a 30% chance at afternoon showers and thunderstorms. Partly cloudy and 94 once again for a high. And then Sunday, sunny and 101, and it's just hotter from there. All next week, we're in the 100-somethings. 101, 102 on Monday, 103 on Wednesday or Tuesday, 102 on Wednesday. So it's going to be hot next week. So enjoy your 99 today and possible chances of rain. All right, 9:17, we're going to take about a 3.5-minute break, and then author John LeMay will join us on the other side. Don't go away.
Hello, this is State Senator Greg Nybert. As you know, I represent Chaves County in the State Senate for District 27. I've represented us in the legislature for 8 years. I'm asking for your vote so that I can continue to be your strong voice for Chaves County. It is important that you go vote. Voting in Chaves County has been light, and there are contested races on the ballot this year, so your vote is very important. Early voting ends Saturday, and Election Day is Tuesday, June 4th. As your state senator, I will continue to protect our Second Amendment rights, the right to life, our oil and gas industry, and our conservative Republican values. And I will, of course, do my best to bring economic development and growth to our community as I did with the recently announced Reno air races. I humbly ask for your vote for Greg Nybert in the upcoming Republican primary so we can keep Chaves County strong. Please go vote early this week. Election Day is Tuesday, June 4th.
Paid for by Greg Nybert for State Senate.
You've heard of a Four Seasons room, but have you heard of a Four Seasons window? Jennifer here from Trustmark Roofing and Windows. It might surprise you to learn many windows are built to handle only the cold or only the heat, but not both. In Southeast New Mexico, one or the other doesn't cut it. That's why Trustmark windows are built to handle our Four Seasons climate, the scorching summers, the bone-chilling winters, and everything in between. Special glass coating blocks extreme UV rays, a stout frame prevents warping from the extreme weather changes, and insulated glass is like putting your home in a giant styrofoam cooler in the winter and keeps cold out and warmth in, and in the summer it keeps heat out and cool in. For our Four Seasons weather, get Four Seasons windows. Call today for your no-obligation spring window assessment, 575-755-7663, or visit TrustmarkRoofPros.com.
Trustmark Roofing, we put people first.
This is Chad Hamill, and I'm running to be your next senator for District 32. My opponent, Candy Azell, can't defend her 20-year record in the Santa Fe swamp, so she's attacking other people's families and kids on the radio. That's the difference in this race. Candy attacks other people's kids while I'm running to protect yours. And on my record, as a fire chief, I have seen the devastation of open borders. Fentanyl overdoses are out of control. As a small business owner here in the community, I know firsthand how politicians in Santa Fe have destroyed small businesses for our communities. As a previous school board member, I know local control has been ripped away from our schools. It is time for a change. The same old just isn't working. I will be your conservative voice in Santa Fe. Career politicians have gotten New Mexico into this mess, but as a firefighter, I've made my living running towards problems, and I'm ready to fix the problems. I humbly ask for your vote on June the 4th so we can put the fire out in Santa Fe. Paid for by Friends of Chad Hamill.
Hi, I'm Jeff Bilberry. I'm here to support my friend and colleague Pat Boone for the New Mexico Senate District 27. Pat and I served together on the LIDA school board. I know his commitment to provide the best opportunities for our students in rural schools in New Mexico and across the board. Pat has been a steward of our land and was past chairman of the Soil and Water Board, and Pat was also past president of the New Mexico Cattle Growers Association. This Tuesday is the Republican primary. Please cast your vote for Pat Boone.
I'm Pat Boone, and I approve this message.
The inventor of Pringles is buried in a Pringles can. I wonder if they got their hands stuck putting him in there. Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 21 minutes after 9 o'clock, and joining us in studio this morning, John LeMay back with us. Good morning, John.
Good morning, Mike and Kim.
How are you doing today?
Doing good.
Yes, my chauffeur is here, so. To quote Sean. That's right. But, of course, for folks not familiar, John LeMay, of course, yeah, he's been on many times wearing his Historical Society hat and other things, but is, by day, he's a local author. And how many books have you written now, John?
I'm at about or over 50 now.
50 now. Yeah. Pretty good. And over how many years have you written those books?
Since I was 22, and I'm 38 now.
Okay, so about 15 years, give or take. Nice. So I'm very curious. What always... I don't think I've ever asked you, what drew you to writing and everything? I know you always kind of have a love for history and stuff, but, what decided you say, I like writing and I want to publish books?
I liked to read when I was little, which was, I don't know if that was too unusual for my generation. We weren't quite as high on the internet.
Yeah, we didn't have as many bells and whistles as we do today.
So, I liked to read when I was little. I liked books about Bigfoot and the Loch Ness Monster, stuff like that. And then I liked a few novels, not too many. So I think I wanted to write novels, but history is so much easier to break into.
Sure.
So I just got into that, and then
and really the history of our region of New Mexico, and you've covered a lot in your books. It's different. It's history, but it's like growing up in Maryland and in the East Coast in the D.C. area. You think history, and it's like Revolutionary War and Civil War and government and that kind of history, which is all amazing, and I love it.
Yeah.
But out here in New Mexico, it's Billy the Kid. It's the tales of the West, the Spanish conquistadors, the cowboys, and the tall tales that come from it.
Yeah.
And to me, it's a much different kind of history. You know what I mean? It's almost a history of. Do you mind answering that? No, man, it's a spam risk. I thought that was something. I thought might have been my car.
Yeah.
It said spam
risk.
But that's the thing. The history here is it's really about. It's all personal lives, but it's not about. At the end of the day, we're making a constitution or we're forming a nation. It's literally about people living in New Mexico, handling and living and dealing with their lives, and the stories of Pat Garrett and Billy the Kid and all the other characters of New Mexico lore. That's why those stories, it's almost, I don't know if entertaining is the right word, because that's not the right word, but it's almost more social.
Fantastical, too.
Yeah.
Adventurous.
It's like it's these adventures of this person who rode through the night to do this or did, whereas Revolutionary War, it's just different. It's they talked about some hill they took in a battle or something, and it's just a different, equally cool, but it's, I don't know. Does it make sense what I'm saying? It's the history out here is more about the people than the events that took place, if if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Whereas it's like when you get lost in the East Coast and like that kind of history, you get they tend to lean towards the dates and what happened here as opposed to who was here, and feel like New Mexico history, and particularly what you do through your books, you kind of put the face to the story a little bit. You know, does that make sense?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So to me, I imagine that's got to be a cool draw for you, like growing up here and growing up, you know, with these tales of Billy the Kid and Pat Garrett and the ghost stories and all the things, the different topics we cover, and it's just different, you know, because my history was, you know, you go up and it's like, oh, here's George Washington, here's, you know, and it's just different, you know. Everyone knows who George Washington was. Had it not been for the Lincoln County Wars, probably none of us would know who Billy the Kid.
No,
you know what I mean? It's that's what's kind of cool about it. But anyway, so I before we talk about John's latest book, I highly invite you to check out one of John's other, like we said, about 50 other books at this point. That and not all of them are history, New Mexico history. I mean, yes, we got a bunch of those, but we've talked about your love of, like you're saying, Bigfoot and all that, Godzilla, and you've got books in that genre too, where it's more sci-fi and more outside of cowboys and ranching and stuff. But then you combine the worlds too, where you talk about some of the aliens and paranormal in Old West times and what they experienced and seen, and to me those are fascinating because they didn't have terminology like we do today.
No,
like they're describing things like missiles and saucers, but they don't have words like saucers and missiles to compare to, because why would they know what a saucer or a missile is in the Wild West in the 1870s? And so, but they're describing it to a T. And so to me, so you kind of cover it all from the history side to the science fiction-y side of things.
Yeah, cast a wide net.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I know if you go to Amazon, you can type in John LeMay and do all that. I will throw a shameless plug to our historical society. If you want to help out John and our historical society, I invite you to go to RoswellNMHistory.org. And not only can you see John's books, but if you want to get one of Donna Blake Burchell's books or one of our other local authors, I think there's a few Elvis Fleming books that we still have available.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And so, by the way, John would know, he's our archive guy too at the Historical Society. So if it's in the building, generally, if John doesn't know, he knows someone who knows. But so the latest book that John has called New Mexico's Lost Worlds and Enchanted Lands. So what's give us a little bit of inspiration behind this book.
So this one is all about archaeological sacred sites, Pueblo ruins, things like that. Okay. You know, like the obvious one that comes to mind is Chaco Canyon. And I just put it in there because, you know, you have to put Chaco Canyon in there. But I wanted to find the stuff that most people don't know about.
Okay.
And
like we all know that these are sites and things, but what took place there? What are they finding?
Yeah.
What you know, as multiple generations of people did things on the same land, as you dig deeper, you see evidence of that.
Yeah, well, and like for instance, there's a lot of folklore in it. Like we all know White Sands, but not many people know the story that, and this is just a folk tale. There's no evidence for it. But
Gotcha.
the story is there was a Pueblo on White Sands long ago, or actually the Pueblo was there before the Sands.
Okay.
And the story is their shaman had like a vision of the Spanish conquistadors coming. So he did some sort of ritual or ceremony that caused this white sand to fall from the sky and conceal their Pueblo. And that's like the legend of White Sands.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, that'll cut into one of the natural wonders history there a little bit.
But then some of them, you know, are totally factual.
Sure.
And
these are probably stories that they told their kids. You know what I mean? It's like, why are the White Sands white, Dad or Mom? And these are the stories they told their
and
family.
they just haven't really survived into the 21st century.
Sure, because science comes in and change. You know, that's, you know, it's you look at history, and a lot of times when things were chalked up as sorcery, witchcraft, it's just lack of knowledge. And then years later, it's like, oh, it's because the environment did this and the pressure caused this, and that's why it did this.
Yeah.
So. You know, so as mankind evolves to get smarter in science and stuff, we tend to be able to debunk some of the things that were perceived as magic or higher power in some
well,
cases.
So here's an instance of just the opposite. So like the cover story of the book, this is called Catzimo Mesa. It's
okay.
Yeah, so most people know Acoma Mesa at least, which is about 60 miles west of Albuquerque. It's the mesa, or it's the pueblo that's literally built on top of a mesa, so it's pretty unique. But so the Acomans claim that before they lived on that mesa, they lived on another mesa nearby that was even steeper and higher.
Okay.
And the academics of the time, which was like the late 1800s, they would scoff at it, and they said, well, that's just a fairy tale. There's no way they were on this, this even higher mesa that has no access to it.
Just a physical impossibility.
Yes.
They do it, yeah.
But their story was that they lived there, and there was this terrible storm that caused they had kind of like an ascent up the plateau, and it got weathered off during a storm.
So the terrain was different at the time they lived there.
Yeah. So the scientists, though, they would all scoff at it. And this one, he was so excited to disprove it that he was the first Anglo man to actually climb the mesa, which he did, I think, in 1897. And when he got to the top, he claimed he saw nothing there. So he was right. But then there was another scientist, one of his competitors, and he just didn't believe him. Mm-hmm. He thought, I'm going to go double check. So when he climbed the mesa for the second time, he actually found arrowheads, pottery shards, all these signs of habitation. No structures necessarily, but he found signs of that
human existence.
They had been up there. And so you could argue that this first scientist, he didn't want to be wrong.
Sure.
So
that's the thing with science.
Yeah.
When scientists truly do science, they're supposed to go in with wherever the evidence takes them. But when you're trying to create a theory and then have the evidence fit the narrative of your theory, that's when the science gets catty.
Yeah.
And, go watch a whole documentary about some court case dealing with DNA evidence and stuff. You'll learn all about that kind of stuff, how they're trying to steer the evidence this way. But it's kind of, you're seeing obviously an earlier version of that same thing. He was convinced, he was dealing with the politics that it's impossible that people were here. Therefore, when he went up there, either he saw it and said, oh, this is not good, I'm going to lie, or he literally didn't look. He just said, oh, yep, see nothing up here, come back down.
Yeah.
It's kind of.
Yeah, and he probably just assumed no one else would make the effort that he made to get up there.
So, but that's the when we talk real science, that's the problem is real science, you go and follow the evidence wherever it leads you, and whatever the conclusion is, the conclusion is. If you come in with a preconceived notion and try to fit the science to your narrative, that's when the science gets cattywampus.
Yep.
That's just a life lesson, folks, to learn. You should know that whenever they try to talk science with you. But anyway, I got sidetracked. So this one's really kind of, you may know some of the places and things, and you may know the tent pole or one thing that took place there, but you're like, there's a lot more too. There's a few layers to this cake if you dig down in here a little bit. So check that. So that's a cool. Now again, this latest one's called New Mexico's Lost Worlds and Enchanted Lands, and I know it's available right now through the Historical Society, through Amazon. John will be at Galacticon this year, all 3 days. He was smart enough to take advantage of Elaine's air conditioning, and so I will be inside there signing books and selling books. So, and I imagine you're going to have not only this book, but probably some of your others as well, too.
Yeah, I don't try to take all of them anymore because people think I'm a book dealer. They don't realize I'm the author.
Sure. You think you're just selling books.
Yeah.
It's like, no, I wrote all these. I'm that guy that's the same name on all the books there, But obviously, because it's Galacticon, if you want to learn more about the science fiction side of John's books and things, the Godzilla and that stuff, obviously all that will be there because it's Galacticon. But don't turn on the history side because there's in some of his books, there's as much science fiction or science-y type aliens and stuff and lore that's part of the books that's very much falls in the. I mean, think about it. Even just the stories you're talking about in this book about the how the White Sands. That's all part of what the Galacticon is. So don't forget about the history books and stuff.
Well, the more wild one is Pecos Pueblo, kind of south of Santa Fe. They claim they used to keep a giant rattlesnake in a cave.
Yeah,
that they they made human sacrifices to.
Oh wow!
And then they had like an eternal flame that they claimed could grant you immortality.
Oh wow! That was an impressive
And I mean,
cave.
people really believed in all those things, because they would have people who claimed that they saw the real inspiration for the eternal flame, which was just a fire they constantly kept burning.
Sure.
You know.
Well, there were things like peyote just laying around
Yeah.
that people picked up from time to time and start seeing spirit worlds and sees the size of that chicken and all the other stuff we talk about. But but to me, this is also getting back to that history thing I was talking, because, and I think I figured it out a little bit when I was talking about earlier, like the history in D.C. and all that. You know, it's kind of like it's here. We know it. On this date in 1776, they signed this or whatever. Whereas a lot of this history is told third hand through, and so some of the details are spot on. Others are artistic license from whoever, you know, was telling the story. And and as the story gets told, and it's the game of what's that? The one where you tell a sentence at the beginning and then a daisy chain, or whatever they call that game, where you whisper into the ear, and then by the time you get to the end, the story telephone.
Yeah.
There you go. It's history here is a little like a game of telephone.
Yeah.
You know, it's you know, stuff that's been chronicled in written form and all that, and photos or you know, that's. But a lot of it is stories passed from generation to generation, family to family, and it gets a little muddy in the details.
Yeah.
So, to be honest, there's probably a fabric of truth in the very beginning of it, and then you know, then the dragons and wizards and stuff got, you know, stacked on as time went on, kind of thing.
And then there's a lot of assumptions made about why this or that happened. And a good example is Gran Quivira, which is kind of at the westernmost end of Lincoln County, around Torrance County. It's just a really nice Pueblo ruin, and because it's so close to the lava flows of Carrizozo, they assumed it was deserted because the volcano erupted. But the volcano, you know, erupted before that Pueblo was even built. But they had all these fantastic legends. They would kind of make it like Gran Quivira was our Atlantis, and all of the volcanic eruption drove them away.
And I'm going to guess some of this stuff was created by the people themselves to discourage people from paying a visit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Part of that's something, because granted, let's face it, it's the Wild West.
Yeah.
And we all know that was a time where, you know, you want the land, you come take the land. You know? That was that time we lived in, you know? That was just the way it is. And so I'm guessing some of this came from that. You know what I mean? And, you know, discouraging from settlers or people to come and take in land. And so, we got a boogeyman. We got a big rattlesnake in a cave.
Yeah.
That, you know,
exactly.
You know, that's how this stuff starts, you know. Yeah. So if you love that kind of stuff, then this book is probably going to be right in your wheelhouse, and you get to hear. And I love these kind of, you know, the hidden history, and that's the stuff you don't really get just doing a Google search or watching a movie sometimes. You know, you get, and it's like, it's like, you know, it's like, I love the Civil War. I love studying the Civil War, but I love hearing more stories about two soldiers that had a thing in a situation happen in camp. To me, I'm way more enthused than General Lee marched here from this date to this time and all that. I'm like, why is there a 9-year-old drummer boy? That's an amazing story. I want to hear that. You know, and that's and a lot of this evokes from that.
I try not to beat the same dead horses best I can, so I try to find stuff that other people have forgotten about or don't write about anymore.
Yeah. So check this book out, and I really think if this is your first time getting exposed to John LeMay's works here, you're in for a treat, because you get here now. You can get into the deep dive of all his Pat Garrett, Billy the Kid stuff. The when I was kind of promoting the aliens and the cowboys stuff here, the Godzilla series of books that he's done here, all of that. Like I'm saying, he kind of covers all the wheelhouses and just different, but it's all cool, just factoidy, just, you know, and most of 90% of his books are your own backyard, you know, things that happen here in southeast New Mexico or other parts of New Mexico. Stuff that you could drive to and go see for yourself in some cases, or see where it was, you know. And so to me, that adds a layer of coolness to it. That when you're reading about a book and the story, and you're like, hey, let's go spend the weekend and go to Chaco Canyon or go to one of these places and see if we can find some of this. Or let's spend a weekend in Fort Sumner and see if we can see some of this, the stuff that we were reading about.
Well, like something in here about Fort Sumner is they have a petrified forest along the river, but it's on private land, so it's not something you can see.
Accessible to
but
many
people.
But
that's what I mean by lost world. You know, it's just something that's been forgotten and nobody really knows about it.
Yeah. It's kind of like to me, this almost gets reminiscent of like your apocalyptic stories. Although this is all true and everything, but
apocryphal or apocalyptic?
Apocalyptic, kind of like you go and you see these like Mad Max type movies, and then you see like a Bob's Big Boy in the middle of the desert. And you're like, why is that here now? And so to me, this is almost like New Mexico's versions of Bob's Big Boy in the desert.
Sure.
Why is Bob's Big Boy sitting in the middle of the desert? You know, kind of thing. And so if you love that kind of stuff, this book and many of his other books.
Well, and it's not a very big book either. It's only 180 pages.
Right. It's like 2 or 3 bathrooms.
You don't have to read it in order. You can like find the chapters you're interested in, and you know.
Exactly. And you can go back and reference it. Usually like you're saying, that story, because that's what happens is you tell, and then you go back and you're talking at your friends or your family. Like, do you know what Choco Kennedy did? And then if you need to reference it, see, it's right here. So, but please check out your books. Now, if you go on Amazon, you just type in John LeMay, author kind of thing, and pretty much all your books show up on the list there.
Yeah.
Excellent. So, and like you said, there's about 50 of them, so you got quite a few you got some time to spend if you're just now getting into John LeMay's library of books that he's written.
And like Mike said, that's if you don't live here. If you do live here, please support the Historical Society or Hangar 209 because they stock my books too. And
Excellent.
I wanted to give them some
great.
support
Well, thank
as
you
well.
to them for doing that. Absolutely. It's great that the local community support and local and you know as well as I do, we at the Historical Society, we're all about the community and doing everything and everybody working together to make things happen in our community. So yes, and by the way, when you do buy a book, whether it's John's book or Donna's book or any of the books that we sell to the Historical Society, the Historical Society does get a piece of that to keep the roof from leaking and keeping the foundation from cracking and keeping the grass from turning brown and keeping the windows from when people, because it is a part of the time where people break in and do things from time to time and we have to deal with security and other issues. So by you reading these amazing stories, you are helping us preserve history through the Historical Society.
Yep.
Which, by the way, if you maybe you're an aspiring John LeMay. Maybe you're thinking, I want to write books like this, like John does. John's got a lot of, he walks around and got a lot of, like he's a hero. He just wears a cape, but he's got a lot of fans. But anyway, and he's dreamy. But anyway, he gets embarrassed when I do that. I do it. Does people say this to you around town and they hear me talking like that on the radio? Has anybody ever called you dreamy or did stuff? Yeah. Good, it's working. But please understand that that's what our archives facility is at the Historical Society. Yes, we keep it there for preservation and for generations to see later, but it is a library in and of itself. When people like John or other outside entities, even when we get those alien documentarian people coming in and all, a lot of times they're coming to the Historical Society looking for photographs, looking for books, references, resources to support or to help the documentary or book or whatever they're trying to put together. I'd say almost every month we have our meeting, John has 1 or 2 reports of a phone call or an email of someone reaching out saying they're looking for information for a book they're writing or a documentary series they're working on. And sometimes it's as big as your discoveries and your tentpole national franchises that are requested and stuff. So that's what's there. But it's in your backyard too. So and I'm going to do a plug for volunteers. If you want to spend a lot of time in the archives, come volunteer. Come work. And
thank you. I wanted to say that too because I'll show how to do things because we've got too much to do.
That's just it. We got literally a bunch of stuff, and there's more stuff coming in, and it's fun, but it's a real tough challenge because there's only so much space, and and by nature we're pack rats. We want to keep it all in the that it might be, but at some point you're like we don't need 37 chew baseball caps.
No,
you know what I mean? And that's. So we're kind of in that point where we've got to prioritize, we've got to categorize, we've got to determine what truly needs to be a part of the archives and what maybe should go somewhere else. Not saying throw it away, just saying go somewhere else. And so we need volunteers to do that. And plus, we need some technological computer types because we're also in the process of getting digital records and recordings and archiving of some of the periodicals and things like that, things that, paper at some point we might lose because that's what the environment does it. And so at least, whenever it does go away permanent, there's a digital, so someone can see it even 300 years from now when the book's no longer readable or holdable, anything like that. So we need volunteers to kind of keep, and it's a lot of fun because every time you go and do it, it's kind of like a Easter egg hunt or a episode of the movie National Treasure where you get to walk around and see all these cool things. And it's just the history of life. It's everything from people's gadgets for their kitchens that are no longer there to books and periodicals, to clothing, to firearms and instruments. It's really just time capsules of how people lived here in their moments of their time on Earth here with us. And it really is a trip down to see that. So if you love that kind of stuff and love to get a little more involved and want to get your hands dirty in this, who knows? Maybe you're a young man or woman out there that wants to be an archaeologist or a historian or get into that field. Have some fun and dig through the books and annals of the Historical Society and help us get it to where it's ready for the next generation.
Yeah. So. Something fun you can do is dig through collections that need to be actually archived.
Okay.
And just look at them, and all you have to do is say, oh, this is connected to this. This is the such and such collection. Because that's kind of what we're getting a backlog of, is stuff that somebody needs to look at it and see what this really is. Then it's not complicated. You don't have to be.
It's just tedious.
You don't have to be a genius to figure out, oh, this is the notes of this ex-Roswell lawyer.
Yeah.
These are all his notes. Okay, I'm going to write that down. That's what this collection is. It's done.
But how much fun is it for certain types of people?
Yeah.
To get to look through that and see that. Yeah. And see it and wow. Imagine what was going on at the time this was.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, at our board meeting the other night, one of our great local antique shops here came across a Roswell Symphony Orchestra record from the 60s, I believe. And it's an amazing piece of history. It's in great shape, but it's got the music and the names of people that were in the RSO at the time. And to me, that is a perfect example of why the Historical Society is here, is for things like that, And so you kind of get a treat like that every week at the Historical Society, where people come in and thank you to the public that always. And usually it's like someone passes away in the family or something, and there's some heirlooms or things that were sitting in a closet or in an attic somewhere, and they know it's of value, but they have no use for it, so they call us, and we're very thankful that sometimes we're kind of like, we got like 37 copies of that book already, but we are so thankful that folks take the time to say, hey, maybe this is important before we discard it or do something else to it, So please keep doing that, and please don't be discouraged if we say we already have enough of those or we don't have room for that. It's nothing personal. We are at a point where we have so much stuff that we're like, all right, do we need to keep a blender from the 30s?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or should that go to somewhere else? Maybe someone else can have a home for that, or a museum that does things for blenders or small appliances or something. I don't know. But you know what I mean? That's what we're kind of determining. And sure, we'd love to hold it all, but, there's only so much room in the archives facility. But that's a great way. RoswellNMHistory.org is our website there. You can get all of John's books there. If you're here locally, it's a great way to support the Historical Society and John at the same time here. Please make plans if you're out and about during UFO Festival weekend to swing on by the Convention Center in Galacticon. Yeah. John and many others will have their booths out there for you to come check out. John, he'll be the book guy. He'll have all of some of his local, some of his science fiction books, some of his local history books, all there available for you. And if you want to pick brains and talk shop with him, that's a great opportunity.
I literally can't get away from you.
But a lot of people like it, and this is because I imagine you get a lot of folks at times like this that maybe grew up in some of these places that you write about, and they want to share their own personal stories or their own personal encounters that either jive with your book or maybe contrast to some of what they have in the book.
Yeah, and it is kind of like a book fair for local authors because almost all of them are there, like Edie and EJ and different people.
If
you know,
you
they
want to
all
meet the who's who of local authors, absolutely too. And are you going to have any like Donna or any special guests hanging out?
No, I
at
don't
your
think
table
Donna
this
can
time?
make it this year,
Okay,
unfortunately.
she's busy doing other things. She's the I jokingly call her the John LeMay of Eddy County. Between the two, they've got Southeast New Mexico covered when it in terms of history. They're both great people and great.
Yeah, I actually dedicated this book to her Bronco.
Oh yeah,
she named her Bronco Sue, so I dedicated it to her vehicle instead of to a person.
Sue got
because it took us to a lot of these.
I was about
sites,
to say,
so,
I think Sue's the reason why I got to see me.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
cool. Was she kind of because she loves to explore and stuff. Is she kind of serve as a Sherpa with you a little bit, or is she kind of going in as kind of learning as you are?
No, she's more outgoing than I am.
Okay.
I'm pretty content to sit around, but she likes to go to these places.
John likes to
and
sit
I
there
go
and look
with her.
pretty. I get it. But yeah, I get what you're saying. She's a John's he'll sit and listen, and then you know what I mean. Where Donna, she's more, hey, how you doing? Put the hand on you. John's kind of like, I'll be happy to talk to you, but put your hand out first. Or Donna, she'll be up in your grill, saying, hey, what's up? So. But that's cool. But trust me, it's cool. But here's the thing: once you get John talking, especially on one of his stories, and then you're gonna have to shut him down. But but that's but to me, I think that's where your passion comes from. So what drew you to history? I know I'm going all over the place, but like, did you grow up as a kid? Just like, was your parents exposing you to different locations and things, or like, how did you stumble upon being interested, or is it just the world of books and you kept reading things like this is cool to me?
I think it was the world of books, and then I was wanting to write a novel that used all our area lore, and so I researched that for the novel, and it was really interesting.
Like for me, I always say, I read books and did that too, but I think by default where I lived kind of put me in that. Like I grew up in a place where, like Dr. Samuel Mudd's house, the man that was part of John Wilkes Booth's leg during the assassination of Lincoln. He went to prison and for it, and it was a whole thing. But his house was literally 5 minutes from where I grew up, and I went and so I lived in a world where history was at a stone's throw. Everything and it was something big. Like I'm sorry, especially you get into certain parts of Virginia and Southern Maryland, you can't throw a rock without hitting like a historic marker saying George Washington did something here, or John Hancock did something here, or just stuff like it's so much of it that I think people that live in the area almost take it for granted. Yeah, like the people that live in D.C., Maryland area don't appreciate the fact that they have what they have in their backyard. I was different. I embraced it. When as a kid through Boy Scouts and everything else, I went to Gettysburg and saw Gettysburg Battlefield. I went to D.C. 100 times. I've been in and out of those museums a bunch. Going to Mount Vernon. I've been to Mount Vernon 2, 3, 4 times. I've just seen, Valley Forge. It's all right. Yeah, hours away, and so. So I think by default, because I'm just around it so much, I got fascinated by it. In the Civil War, doing these hikes around with the Boy Scouts, and I'm hearing these stories of the brother fought over here, and by the way, his brother was in the 1st Massachusetts over on this side, and the other brother was in the 27th Virginia down here, and to me that fascinated me. So, that's kind of what for me. So I was just curious, for you did your parents take you to places a lot to see these kind of things?
Just Carlsbad Caverns and White Sands and cool stuff that's nearby.
I didn't know if they just by osmosis, you get exposed to enough. For me, that's how it did. Yeah. Like I go to Virginia, and I don't know if it's a crepe. There's a certain flower that's at a lot of Virginia historic sites, like Mount Vernon and there. Yeah. And it's very common. And when you hit certain times of year, I hit that smell, and it instantly makes me think of like historic Jamestown or Williamsburg because it's just that smell and it evokes a certain memory there. So, but anyway, that's how I grew up. So, taking it off about me, back to John here. Get his books through our Historical Society's website, roswellmhistory.org. You can certainly pick them up at the convention center here during Galacticon.
And Amy said to say this is a great Father's Day gift.
You know what? Dad's Day right around the corner. Dad would love this. And if Dad doesn't want this particular book, there's a lot of other cool books that I think Dad will be into that John and other authors have written, or maybe he's a Peter Hurd print fan. We've got those
that too.
And stuff, and all of that supporting the Historical Society by doing that. So please don't hesitate to shop there. Shop early, shop often. So I don't know yet, Casey. That was a technical question. He's asking there. And then do you and of course. Do you have like a website with your books and stuff if people want to go, or just reach out to Facebook? Or
so I did start one just for the history titles.
Okay.
Bicepbooks.com.
Okay, so they can go there and look it up. But you know what, John LeMay's on Facebook. Shoot out, match it to him. If you have any questions.
Just Amazon. The only problem with Amazon is you'll get all my books, and it'll be like stuff you may not be interested in.
Well, if you've never seen them, that's a good way to get exposed to all of it and get to pick and choose, because there might be things that John wrote about that you didn't think John would write about that you'd be into, and you just didn't think that's where you go to get it. You're looking elsewhere for it. So, good deal. Did we get anything we missed, John? Did we get it all?
No, I think that's about it.
Awesome. Well, thank you, sir. As always, we'll see it. And by the way, he was my chauffeur the other night.
Yeah,
he got me here too. So
that's how I got this spot. Is he said,
that's right.
If I give you a ride home, I'll let you have the.
It's like, can I ride you Thursday? Only if you give me a ride home. No, I'm just kidding. This was pre-booked. All right, it is 9:56. Quick break before we end the show. Don't go away.
This is Chad Hamill, and I'm running to be your next senator for District 32. My opponent, Candy Azell, can't defend her 20-year record in the Santa Fe swamp, so she's attacking other people's families and kids on the radio. That's the difference in this race. Candy attacks other people's kids while I'm running to protect yours. And on my record, as a fire chief, I have seen the devastation of open borders. Fentanyl overdoses are out of control. As a small business owner here in the community, I know firsthand how politicians in Santa Fe have destroyed small businesses for our communities. As a previous school board member, I know local control has been ripped away from our schools. It is time for a change. The same old just isn't working. I will be your conservative voice in Santa Fe. Career politicians have gotten New Mexico into this mess, but as a firefighter, I've made my living running towards problems, and I'm ready to fix the problems. I humbly ask for your vote on June the 4th so we can put the fire out in Santa Fe. Paid for by Friends of Chad Hamill.
You're invited. Car Affair 2024, presented by the Cars Club of Carlsbad. Saturday, June 1st at the beach in Carlsbad. Early registration is Friday with a cruise. Then Saturday, car registration starts at 8 a.m. and ends at 10:30 a.m. Enjoy music, food, car-related swap meet, a 5K run, door prizes, and a special Try 5 Chevys area. To register or for more information, visit carsclubofcarlsbad.com.
Yes, cannabis is legal in New Mexico. Know that there are helpful rules for responsible cannabis use. Yes, you should only buy from a licensed dispensary. Know that if you don't, yours might contain harmful substances. And yes, lock up all cannabis, safely away from kids and pets, in a safe place. And know that cookie jars are not good options. Know your yeses and nos about all things cannabis. From the State of New Mexico Cannabis Control Division. Go to yesandnosnm.com.
This is State Senator Bill Scherer, the senior Republican in the State Senate. My voting record is ranked as the most conservative in the Senate. I want to tell you about my conservative Republican friend, Greg Nybert. I strongly endorse Senator Greg Nybert and urge you to support him as well. Behind the scenes in Santa Fe, Greg is a strategist and a tactician who helps our side defeat the progressive agenda. We desperately need him to help us fight MLG's agenda. Greg is the only Republican lawyer in the state Senate, and we cannot stop bad leftist legislation without him. That is just one of the reasons it is crucial you turn out to vote in this election for Greg Nybert. He is a conservative leader that New Mexico needs. Please vote for Greg Nybert in the upcoming Republican primary for state Senate.
Paid for by Greg Nybert for state Senate.
Hi, I'm Candy Spence-Ezell, and I've spent my life farming and ranching here in southeastern New Mexico, like generations of my family before me. This is my home. I have a lifetime's worth of experience, especially when it comes to our water rights and our constitutional rights. I will always fight for you. I'm Candy Spency Zell, and I'm asking for your vote for State Senate District 32 in the upcoming primary election, June the 4th.
Paid for by Candy Spency Zell for State Senate District 32.
The octopus and the squid both have 3 hearts. That's why they eat so many Tums. Here's Mike Winters.
And that's going to do it for us. If you missed any part of the show, I invite you to check it out at your leisure. Log on to ksvptv.com. Click on the Mornings with Mike Winters channel. You'll find all of our videos there. Have an amazing day. We'll be back bright and early, 7 a.m. tomorrow. You're listening to 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM, KEND, or Roswell, New Mexico.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. Day 2 of deliberations underway in the Trump criminal trial. The panel deliberated for more than 4 hours on Wednesday and asked the judge to rehear both jury instructions and portions of testimony from 2 key witnesses. Meanwhile, most Americans say